ladies and gentlemen, the North Shore Mustangs.
Welcome to Galena Park ISD Stadium in Houston, Texas. Got an exciting matchup this afternoon, 24-6A. Dickinson Gators coming in 10-1 overall. A big area win over Pearland last week, 49-21. Pearland was undefeated coming in that game, so Dickinson playing some good football last week to get in this matchup today. It's a 6A Division I Region 3 matchup here in Houston, Texas, and they'll be facing off with North Shore, 11-0 on the season, number 2 in the state, number 29 nationally. And Bert Brocker joining me this afternoon, the head coach with Texan Live. And Bert, what an exciting matchup we have this afternoon. What do you see from North Shore this afternoon?
Well, I think the big thing is North Shore defense is only giving up 7 points a game. You heard me right. Actually, it's 6.5 points a game, and 21 of those came week 1 where they dominated the Katy Tigers. So, and you go to the offense side of the ball, you've got a sophomore quarterback, and you've got Demetrius Davis, and then you have a tailback in Evans that's just a junior. So this team has young athletes on both sides of the ball, but what a powerhouse it is.
Absolutely, and Dickinson kind of mirrors North Shore in a lot of ways. Mike Welch, the quarterback, has contributed 41 touchdowns this season for the Gators, 21 through the air and 20 on the ground. And then Darrell Harris, the wide receiver, 12 TDs, along with Jordan Green, 14 rushing TDs. So the Gators pack a punch as well.
Well, we're going to go down to the field for the national anthem, and we will return as soon as they get done with the production of the national anthem.
Gentlemen, at this time, would you please rise? Gentlemen, please remove your caps. First, for the presentation of colors on the North Shore Senior High Air Force Junior ROTC program, to be followed by our national anthem. Presenting the colors today are Cadet Staff Sergeant Alize Cortez, Cadet Staff Sergeant Elazar Zepeda, and Cadet Major George Rocha. And now, ladies and gentlemen, to honor America, our national anthem.
Get set for the opening kickoff here in Houston, Texas. A 6A Division I Region 3 matchup, the Dickinson Gators and the North Shore Mustangs. You're watching the NFHS Network Road to State on Facebook Watch. Your host, Mike Armstrong, along with Bert Brocker, Texan Live head coach.
Well, folks, we got a good one here tonight. These young men out here, you know, one of these teams will go home today at the end of the day. And both of these programs, Dickinson, even though they have one loss, they were up 28-0, ended up losing to Clear Springs, had 3 turnovers, gave up 21 points in less than 8 minutes. So this is a team with a fight inside of them today that really feels like they came in here, you know, and North Shore all year long has been picked like you said, they're ranked number 1, number 2, number 3 in the state of Texas all year long. Dickinson at the beginning part of the year, they wasn't even ranked in the top 20. So they have a lot to prove here today, and I can guarantee you Coach Snelson, covered him for the last 5 years, he's going to have these young men ready to play football today.
No question. Well, you know, Dickinson is really, other than the Clear Springs game that you mentioned, Bert, they've really blown out most of their opponents just like North Shore has. That was a little bit of a stumble there, but last couple of weeks against Alvin and Pearland was undefeated 10-0, number 4 in Houston. Dickinson goes on the road and beats them 49-21.
Well, and you look at what Katie's defense did. You know, Katie this year was a team that nobody knew that much about, and that is really the only game that North Shore has allowed more than 13 points to Deer Park, 21 to Katy, 0 to Ridge Point, 3 to Westfield, 0 to LaPorte, 0 to C.E. King. We'll go down the field.
Dickinson has won the toss. They've elected to defer their option.
So Dickinson wins the toss. They're going to defer the kickoff to North Shore.
North Shore will receive.
You're right, Bert. The North Shore defense, man, 130 yards a game, 6.6 points a game. They've come up with 11 fumbles and 5 interceptions, only giving up 1,300 yards in 11 ball games.
Well, and the thing is, this young offense, you know, as they come out on the field, you know, Evans last year had a great year. You know, he came into this season where last year alone, he rushed for almost 1,500 yards, 1,483, 27 touchdowns last year. So this year he steadily got better, but their offense has not had to perform at the high level. So you start looking at numbers for this North Shore team. Most of the starting players didn't play much the second half. So the numbers are a little, I guess, confusing, just for the simple fact you say, hey, well, they're not the leaders even in their own district. But when you got a team's defense, it's only allowing, you know, they had 4 shutouts. You're just not going to play your starters when you're up 42, 55 to nothing at halftime.
Absolutely. And one of the keys to this ballgame is going to be the Dickinson defensive front to see if they can get pressure on Demetrius Davis for North Shore. So we'll take a look at that this opening series. Dickinson getting ready to kick it off.
Guillermo Rodriguez, ball game's underway.
Guillermo Garcia Rodriguez, it's a touchback for the Gators. So North Shore will set up shop, 1st and 10 at their own 25-yard line. Demetrius Davis, what a year he's having. 2,072 yards passing, 207 on the ground, 29 TDs through the air, Bert.
Well, and you take a look at this Dickinson defense. Other than the one game, they've shut folks down. So going to be interesting to see, how do you control North Shore? How do you slow them down? And they're going to get their opportunity right off the bat here.
So Demetrius Davis out to lead the North Shore Mustang offense. Zach Evans to his right. And Evans gets the first carry of the ball game. It's off the left side. He breaks one tackle, heads to the sideline, but no gain. He gets pushed out of bounds.
Yeah, Anthony Wickwire did a great job right there of just stretching that play out, but got to give the men up front right there. John Orwood, Cannon Boone, Derek Martin, and JT Greer, they did what they're supposed to do. They got that first line of penetration, and then nice job by Wickwire of using that out-of-bound marker and allowing Evans to not turn north and south.
So Evans to Davis's right. Shadrick Banks is the #1 receiver, number 19. He's out far to the right side. It's a screen pass to Evans. Evans down the right sideline. It's a huge gain for the Mustangs, all the way down to the 41-yard line. The first down of the ball game. 1st and 10 Mustangs from the 41. Dickinson.
Well, that's that dual threat we talk about right there. Evans just kind of came out of the backfield and just set up perfectly. And, of course, the defender slipped there, Paul Smith, for the Gators, so that didn't help anything.
So Demetrius Davis back in the gun. Evans to his left. Banks out right. Davis takes it himself. Got a big hole. Cuts down to the right sideline. Could go 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown North Shore.
Well, that right there, this young man, even though he's a sophomore, so mature there, ran up in the middle there, got a good block from his wide receiver out on the outside there, and before you knew it, he was in pay dirt. Nice job by him right there. He's got such a great vision of this field, and more importantly, he showed his speed.
Absolutely. So Jonathan Villalobos in for the extra point for the Mustangs. Snap is good. Kick is up and good. At left 15 in first quarter. North Shore 7, Dickinson nothing.
Well, you know, we said, how would this Dickinson defense do against this high-powered offense of North Shore? And if you're a Dickinson Gator fan, right now you've got to be highly concerned, because first down, you did a good job. You stacked that interior line, but that's the problem when you got a dual threat like that with a quarterback that can run, throw, and more importantly on the read options. You know, you're going to see so many different things from him. They like running jet sweeps. They like bringing people. And right now that was just simple football. That was just Evans north and south. And before it was all said and done, he's down here in pay dirt celebrating. And what a nice job by him. I don't know if you saw the way he finished that. He knew that the safety had an edge on him, so he made sure to extend himself, get his feet up in the air, so he reached across that line for the touchdown.
So North Shore in the all red with the white numbers, kicking off left to right. Jonathan Villalobos set to kick it off. It's going to be fielded by Kai German at the 5-yard line for Dickinson. German, he's got a little bit of a hole. Kai German up top the 31-yard line of Dickinson. So the Gators will have it 1st and 10 from their own 31-yard line. Kai German on the return. About a 26-yard return for Kai. So the Gators with Mike Welch. Mike Welch having an absolutely fantastic season. 41 TDs on the season, 21 through the air, 20 on the ground. Number 5, Mike Welch with Jordan Green to his right, trips to the right. Welch, he's got it, pitches it to Green. Flags are down. Great crowd here this afternoon from both North Shore, the home team, and Dickinson and all blue, the visitor side. See what the call is.
False start. Offense, number 76. The 5-yard penalty. First down.
So a false start by Torrey Lasses, the right tackle for Dickinson. Is going to back him up 5 yards, 1st and 15 from the 26.
Well, we talked about it right at the start of the game. This defensive line, Jordan Revels, Darius Fitzpatrick, Tony Bradford, and Ashton Reynolds, they are absolutely a beast in that middle.
It's Jordan Green with the first carry of the ball game for Dickinson. Jordan Green to the sideline. Jordan Green still got room, still on his feet. Bumped out about the 48-yard line. Let's check that. Jordan Green coming in having 5 yards a carry, 14 TDs on the ground, 832 for the season. Big, powerful runner for the Gators. Gets to the edge there, Bert.
Yeah, he did, and he did a nice job right there. And what a touchdown-saving tackle right there by Joseph Wilson.
So Jordan Green, the first down run for the Gators, 1st and 10, 50-yard line. 2 receivers each side. Jalen Weidemeyer, highly recruited receiver.
Wide open down the middle.
And Darrell Harris is wide open. My goodness. Off the fingertips. Darrell Harris wide open down the seam, Bert.
Yeah, and that's one right there. He absolutely was not picked up. And that's one Mike Welch, I promise you, wants back. That's a ball that you got to just put a little more air underneath, let your wide open receiver run to. You don't get but about 3 or 4 shots like that typically in a ball game.
Especially wide open like that. So 2nd and 10 for Dickinson. The 50-yard line. Mike Welch in the gun. 2 receivers to his left. Kai German in motion. Green with the carry. Jordan Green's going to be stacked up for about a 1-yard gain.
Yep, the leading tackle for North Shore Mustangs, Corey Flagg, coming in with 75 tackles, leading his team. And, boy, just absolutely blew that play up, and they're going to mark it right on the 50 for no gain.
So 3rd and 10 for the Gators. Welch in the gun. Drops straight back. Mike takes it himself. Heads to the right sideline. It's going to be about a 6-yard pickup. It's going to be short of the first down marker. It's going to bring a 4th and 3, a punting situation for the Gators.
Gain of 6 yards to bring up 4th down and 4.
So Darrell Harris will check in the punt for Dickinson.
Number 11, Darrell Harris in punt formation for the Gators. Number 18, Marcus Cockrell back for the Mustangs.
Back to receive for North Shore's Dorian Manuel. Harris's punt's off. Manuel lets it roll. It's going to be deep in North Shore's territory at the 5-yard line. Big break for Dickinson right there.
Yeah, that ball had a lot of spin on it right there, and I think they're going to put it down around the 8 because that's actually where he touched it first. Then, of course, momentum carried it the other direction. But, you know, that right there, you know, Coach Nelson's made the decision. We're going to play small ball, 4th and 4, 44-yard line. We're not going to take any chances. This is a long ball game, 4 quarters. But first things first, this defense got to find some way to get a stop here.
So Demetrius Davis in the gun for North Shore. Zach Evans to his left. Shadrick Banks split far right. Evans with the carry. Not much room there. It might be a loss on the play.
Yeah, that was blown up right there. Derek Martin there. Great job by him and knifing through.
Big number 29 right there, the nose tackle for the Gators. So 2nd and 11 for North Shore. 7-yard line. Deep in their own territory. Davis. He's got the snap. He drops back. He's looking for Banks. Banks wide open. He's got the catch. Shadrick Banks, the huge go pattern all the way down to the Dixon 38-yard line. What a play, Bert.
Yeah, it really was. But Demetrius Davis was absolutely lit up as he released that ball. But what he did is he fired a strike downfield for a big pitch and catch. So nice job by the young man of standing in there, knew he was going to get popped, did not panic, threw the strike, and put his offense down here into Dickinson territory.
1st and 10 North Shore to Dickinson 39-yard line. Davis, straight handoff up the middle. And Evans headed to the left sideline. Zach Evans, he could go. Zach Evans in for the touchdown. 39-yard touchdown. North Shore, Zach Evans.
Well, we talked about Evans. We talked about Davis. We understand the power that they bring into this game. And this is a team, without doubt, everybody predicted to win this game today. We had watched Dickinson play the kind of teams they played and felt like that their defense could play with them. But right now, Evans clearly showed his ability there to not only break through the middle, break tackles. We'll come back right back after this. It's up.
That's Jonathan Villalobos with the extra point. He's good. North Shore leads it 14-0. 8:20 first quarter. You're watching the NFHS Network Road to State on Facebook Watch.
Yeah, and this game right here, I mean, this North Shore team, anybody out there in the country that's watching, this is a team that believes they should be #1 in the country, even though they're 29. This team has a great amount of confidence. Of course, John Kay, head coach, won state championship 2 years ago, and he builds defenses. He actually builds teams around defenses. Now, he's very fortunate. He has a sophomore quarterback in Davis, running back in Evans that you just got an opportunity to see right there. And the big thing about Evans is not only can he run through tackles, but he has a vision of the field to then turn back to the left and then go all the way across the field. He saw his wide receivers, and don't want to not give them credit where credit's due. Great block downfield to free him up for the touchdown.
Jonathan Villalobos set the kickoff from North Shore, left to right. North Shore in the all red, making a statement here in this first quarter. They're up 14-0 over Dickinson. Kickoff's a good one. He fielded in the end zone. That's Kai German. Kai German brings it out to about the 23-yard line. So Dickinson will set up shop 1st and 10, their own 23.
Well, with the new rule in effect, a lot of these kickoff return men still haven't got it in their heads. You can just call a fair catch regardless of where you are. You don't have to be in the end zone. You can be on the 7-yard line if you want, and your team gets the ball on the 25. German, as explosive as he is, wants to get the ball in his hands and give his team an opportunity for him to go the distance.
Mike Welch back out to lead the Gators, trips to the right. Jalen Weidemeyer out to the right, highly recruited receiver. Being looked at by a lot of Power 5 schools. Pass just a little bit high from Mike, intended for Kai German, over to the right sideline.
Well, that's 2 passes that Welch has missed. He's got to settle down. You know, without doubt, he had, of course, his wide receiver, Dale Harris, running down the middle of the field that clearly would have been a touchdown. Right now, Dickinson offense got to settle down. They've got to figure out some way to move this ball downfield and get some points. You do not want to give North Shore back the ball right now.
Harris wide right, Jalen wide left, the pitch to Jordan Green. That's read perfectly. It's been a huge loss. Loss of 8. Like the cornerback for North Shore just read that perfectly.
Absolutely blew that up right there. Damon Lewis.
Great play by Lewis. So 3rd and 15 for Dickinson. Their own 17-yard line. Mike Welch in the gun. Jordan Green the setback. Weidemeyer in motion. Sets left side. Mike rolls right. He's got a receiver. Catch is made from well short of the first down. It's Kai German on the catch. Gain of about 7. So Dickinson going to have to punt it away. Or will this be 3rd down?
No, this is 4th down.
There we go.
And that's one of those plays right there, that North Shore defense. You know, they bend, don't break. They knew where they needed to keep the receivers in front of them. German didn't run a deep enough route to be close. And, of course, those big men up front were putting pressure on Welch in the backfield, so he had to get rid of the ball quickly.
Darrell Harris punts it away for Dickinson. Fair catch being made at the 40-yard line. North Shore have good field position. 1st and 10 from their own 40-yard line. 6:33 first quarter. North Shore leads at 14-0. We're at Galena Park ISD Stadium in Houston, Texas. 6A Division I Region 3 matchup. 2 highly ranked teams.
Of course, the Katy Tigers are playing Jersey Village to see who will take on the winner of this ball game.
Davis in the gun. Straight drop back. He's going to be sacked. Kobe Mouton and Landon Roque, the linebackers, in for the sack for Dickinson. That's just what the Dickinson defense needed, Bert.
Well, it really is, and that was a nice job right there by Mouton of getting that security. You know, that was one of those things where you see this young man Davis break out of so many of those first tackles, but good job by them. Brings up 2nd and a mile.
So Davis drops straight back, he's getting pressure again. The screen pass complete. He's got some room down the right sideline. Gators push him out about the 45-yard line. Pass is complete to John Gentry. Gentry, the 2nd leading rusher on the team behind Evans. See him catching the screen pass right there. So multiple skills from John Gentry.
Yeah, but Fasto Castellon there, big man, leading the way downfield right there and getting a block the whole entire way to allow him to pick up that kind of yardage.
So 3rd and 8 from the 44-yard line. Davis lost it down the left sideline. He's got a receiver wide open. Catch made by Chance Pilar. That's going to be a 1st down for North Shore. So North Shore looks like, Bert, they can do what they want through the air or on the ground. Pick your poison.
Well, and that right there was just a perfect pitch and catch. I mean, it was just they lined up the trip receivers out there to the left. Of course, one went deep, one ran a post, and 3rd receiver was kind of just a delayed route and wide open down the sideline.
First and 10 North Shore, the Dickinson 37, hand off to Gentry. Gentry gets about 3 yards. John Gentry spelling Zach Evans.
Landon Rogue there on the tackle for the Gators.
Gentry coming in with 400 yards on the season, averaging 7 yards a carry, 10 TDs on the ground for Gentry. So 2nd and 7 for North Shore. 34-yard line of Dickinson. Davis.
Got man coverage all the way on both sides.
Yep, trips to the right. Davis takes it himself. Not much room there. JT Greer, 3-year starter for the Gators, making the tackle. So 3rd and 6 for North Shore.
Kind of in no man's land right here on the 32-yard line, more than likely in 4-down territory. First things first, Dickinson's not been able to get them to a 4th down in this ball game yet. And once again, you got man coverage out here on the outside.
Chadrick Banks, leading receiver, out far right. Trips set. Davis rolls. Got a lot of room. Demetrius Davis all the way down to the Gator 8-yard line. First down, North Shore. Davis read that perfectly. Receivers recovered. He had a lot of pressure, and he wisely ran the football for the first down.
Well, he was trying to go to Carter out there on that left side. Carter was in man coverage out there against Paul Smith. Smith got a good jam on him, so Davis does what he does. Improvise, look back to the right, realized everybody was running deep with the receivers, and turned on the jets and ran it down the 8-yard line.
So 1st and goal from North Shore. Gentry with the carry. Gentry, John Gentry in for the touchdown. 8-yard touchdown run. North Shore adds to the lead. The Mustangs firing on all cylinders.
Well, and John Gentry, look down at the board. He's only a junior also, so he'll be back here next year for this North Shore Mustang team. And 3 possessions, 3 touchdowns, 1 third down. That's
pretty awesome.
Pretty solid.
Jonathan Villalobos in for the extra point. It's up and good. 3:43 first quarter. North Shore leads at 21-0 over Dickinson. You're watching the NFHS Network Road to State on Facebook Watch.
Well, these young men down there on the field, every touchdown, the Mustang flag crew runs the 100-yard dash. So they're gonna, at this point right now, they're gonna be tired too. So I watched them against Katy and knew they were really good, because the score at the end of the ball game was a little different than what I saw on the field. They gave up a late touchdown, did North Shore, but this team is. They're just powerful. But I go back to last year, we talked about special teams. This game, I'll talk about the play that almost was. And the ball game would have been tied up 7-7 at the time. And it's just little mistakes like that in big games against powerhouse teams that typically when you miss them, now you're 3 scores down instead of worst case scenario being 2 scores down.
North Shore, Jonathan Villalobos with the kickoff. Darrell Harris fields it at the 1-yard line. Darrell Harris up the middle, not much room there. He's going to be stacked up by a swarm of Mustangs at the 20-yard line.
Once again, that's a ball that would have been better off going over Harris's head. He did a nice job of fielding it, but instead of starting at the 25, this offense is going to start at the 20. But, you know, you hate to say this early in the ball game that a possession means the ball game, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. I've seen a lot of teams come back this year. I've watched some great football, but Dickinson's got to find some way to leave their defense over there. They've got to get some first downs and let their defense rest a little bit.
Mike Welch in the gun. Mike rolls right. It's incomplete, the screen pattern.
Well, and
It's intended for Cameron Gallagher. Mike's just been a little bit off in his first quarter.
Well, and that was solid defense downfield. Upton Stout there was just running step for step, and that was where his initial read was, and then linebacker had trailed out with Green, so there was just nothing there.
So 2nd and 10, Mike Welch. He's got a receiver right side, that's Gallagher. Gallagher, it's enough for the first down, about a 13-yard pickup. Cameron Gallagher on the catch from Mike Welch. So as you mentioned, Bert, Dickinson needs to start moving those chains to get their, I believe that's their first down of the ball game.
Now they had one on the first possession,
okay.
and then they ran soft, but nice job right there. Welch finding his open receiver.
So Darrell Harris down the right sideline. Good solo coverage there by North Shore to knock it away. So 2nd and 10 for the Gators from the 33-yard line. Welch in the gun. It's Jordan Green, fakes it to Green, throws it right side. That's Weidermeyer. It's incomplete.
Joseph Wilson is absolutely blanketing whoever's out there. Weidermeyer, it doesn't matter who's on. Darrell Harris, great coverage right so far this ball game.
So 3rd and 10 for Dickinson. Mike Welch down the right side again. It's Darrell Harris got the catch for the Gators. Darrell Harris brings it in.
Thought I saw a flag on the field. Not quite sure what this one will be.
Wow, that's Harris caught it on the right sideline. The flag's way over on the left sideline.
Crew's going to get together and talk about it. I know Coach K is being vocal down there. My only question was there a substitution by the defense, not allowing the offense? We'll go down the field. They're coming over to talk to Coach Nelson.
If it stands, it's a 46-yard completion to Darrell Harris and Mike Welch. Coach Nelson making his case.
I think Weidermeyer actually, the receiver that the intended pass was for, went out, so that would constitute a substitution, which in theory the line judge is supposed to come in and hold the play, but we'll see what they, we'll let them do their job down on the field.
So here's the call. It's a long discussion.
Well, Coach Nelson was confident in the play. He went to it back to back to back, and on the 3rd try, the pitch and catch was delivered, but still not sure. This is probably the longest discussion I've seen. We'll go down the field and see what the final result is.
Timeout. North Shore. That's their first charge of the game.
Yeah. Well, after all that said and done, the illegal substitution was not what was called. John Kay, or one of his coaching staff on the sideline, saw the same thing we did, was going nuts calling for a timeout. I had no clue. I did not see the timeout. Naturally, we were looking at the field trying to determine what did transpire, and what transpired was fairly simple. A timeout was called over here. It was granted, and so instead of picking up 44 yards, you're going to have a 3rd and 10, and North Shore's going to have time to talk about it and come up with a defensive game plan on how they can get yet another 4 stops in a row now.
Seems like they would have blown the whistle after the timeouts, not that the play developed, but that's probably Coach Nelson's case. Is that, listen, nobody heard a whistle out here. We ran the play. but it's going to go against Dickinson.
Well, and that's the thing. There was a flag thrown. The weird scenario. Bottom line is all of them got together. They made the decision that was what was called, and that's the end result. So
absolutely. So here we
third down and 10.
Yeah, 3rd and 10. Dickinson. They're on 33-yard line. Mike Welch in the gun, trips to the left. Weidemeyer split out wide right. Getting some sun out here at GP Stadium. It's been cloudy most of the afternoon. Sun's breaking through. So 3rd and 10, a big play for the Gators right here. Welch rolls to his right, looking right sideline again. Weidemeyer was open, but it's overthrown.
Yeah, but Corey Flagg from that linebacker position knifing through there and just not giving Welch time to set his feet and throw a strike.
Yeah, Corey's our leading tackler with 75 tackles on the season. He's definitely a force for the Mustangs. So Darrell Harris in punt formation for Dickinson.
Gotta love Texas football, though, Mike. You look at both of these stands, completely almost full. People still piling in.
Yes, sir. Harris' punt's a good one. Sfieldy breaks a tackle. He's going down the left sideline. He's got room. A great effort.
Darrell Harris actually made the saving touchdown tackle there down that sideline. And man, oh man, the North Shore offense is going to start this on the 49-yard line of the Dickinson Gators.
They've been prolific all season, averaging 55 points a ball game, 473 yards a ball game with 49 TDs on the ground. So they can do it all on the ground or through the air. So Demetrius Davis in the gun. Just up the middle handoff. So that's Evans on the carry, number 3 for North Shore. It'll be 2nd and 9 from the 48-yard line.
Landon Rogue and Derek Martin there on the tackle for the Gators, but as we said, they've got to find some way to get a stop. They've yet to do that today. 3 possessions, 3 touchdowns for the Mustangs.
Davis in the gun, hands it off to Evans. He's tripped up. A nice defensive play by Landon Roque, the linebacker, number 19 for the Gators. Throws him for a loss.
And that was a play. I think if Evans would have got that outside edge, you know, we're up here near the coaching staff, and they were all going nuts because there was a lot of green and a lot of daylight out there to that left side. That was a big tackle to save potentially what could have been a touchdown.
So 2nd and 12 for North Shore. Back in their own territory at the 49-yard line. Davis gets the snap, straight drop back, rolls to his right, throws it. Right sideline, nobody's home, well short of the intended receiver, Shadrick Banks, number 19.
Well, I said the Dickinson Gators needed a stop, and they got one. And Coach Nelson and his defense decided, hey, we're going to send the world. And in that case, Davis just threw it up and it was out of bounds, nowhere near a receiver.
So Landon Roque back to receive for the Gators about his own 20-yard line. Roque led 24-6A in punt returns, averaged 15 yards of punt returns, got a touchdown to his credit. So Landon, he's a dangerous punt returner. Let's see what develops here. It's a high punt right side. Roque calls for fair catch. He's got it. So 1st and 10 for Dickinson. They're on 18-yard line. North Shore leads at 21-0.
Well, in a game like this, you got to look for small victories.
Absolutely.
And right now, that was a gigantic victory for the Dickinson defense. First 3 possessions, gave up 21 points. 4 possessions, got to stop. Your offense needs to put something together here, move the ball down the field, and keep that defense over there on the sideline, give them a little breathing room. And all of a sudden, when you're down by 14, you feel like you're back in the ball game.
1st and 10. Welch almost intercepted. Little sideline pattern. And Ashton, check that, Damon Lewis almost picked it off.
Yeah, and if Lewis catches that ball, he's still running out of the back of the end zone.
Absolutely.
But we talked about him pregame, the big men up front, Revels, Fitzpatrick, Bradford, and Reynolds. I mean, they just absolutely just bull rush up that middle.
Well, screen pass to Dominique Bradley, freshman. Dominique is close to the first down marker. Dominique's seen a lot of action for the Gators from district play on to today's ball game. The freshman for the Gators.
Well, he showed his speed right there. They're going to go again.
So 3rd and 1 from the 29-yard line. Bradley's got the carry.
Ball's on the ground.
He fumbles it. Let's see if North Shore's got it. They think they do, and they do. The Mustangs come up with a big turnover with a big hit on Bradley. Forces the turnover in North Shore. The defense that you've been talking about, Bert, showing up big.
Well, and that right there was Dickens and Gators just going quick, trying to get the Mustangs to not be set. Instead, put the ball on the ground, and now all of a sudden, now you're asking a ton out of your defense. Short field ball on the 30-yard line here.
So 1st and 10 for North Shore, the Dickens 30-yard line. Davis in the gun. Fakes it to Gentry. Screen pass is knocked down. Big number 90 there for Dickinson.
Norwood. Yeah, John Norwood did a nice job getting his hands up. Again, receiver was open out there, and that's what you got to do. You see J.J. Watt, see a lot of the NFL players, Clowney and all them. You know, when you got that outside edge like that, and he's a big man as you look down there in the field, you know, when you don't get there, get them hands up, make that throwing lane shrink.
So 2nd and 10 for North Shore after the pass is knocked down. Dickinson defense needs a stop.
Looks like Davis is audible in there.
Davis on the option, cuts it up the middle. Davis, enough for the first down. About a 12, maybe 13-yard gain for Demetrius Davis, the Mustangs quarterback. Nice, just followed those big offensive linemen and picked up the first down.
Yeah, but more importantly, Davis picked up 7 yards after first contact right there. And that's probably going to take us to the end of the first half.
It will. We'll head to the second quarter. You can watch this game not only on the NFHS network, but also on the Facebook Watch tab as part of the Road to State, brought to you by the NFHS network.
The NFHS Learning Center is the leader in online education for the interscholastic community. At NFHSLearn.com, you can find over 60 courses for coaches, administrators, officials, parents, students, and performing arts programs, including over 25 free courses such as concussion in sports, heat illness prevention, sudden cardiac arrest, and protecting students from abuse. For more information, visit the NFHS Learning Center.
We start the second quarter here at Galena Park ISD Stadium. North Shore leads it 21-0. They've got 1st and 10 on the 17-yard line. They're in the all red, going right to left. John Gentry in for the touchdown. 17-yard touchdown run. North Shore, John Gentry.
Well, and Gentry right there, that was just a read option. Davis kept ball in his belly there, and next thing you know, Gentry may have got one little arm touch, but pretty much was untouched, headed to the end zone. Those big men up front are absolutely blowing off the football here, creating monster holes.
So Jonathan Villalobos in for the extra point. It's up and good. You're watching the NFHS Network, Road to State on Facebook Watch. You can watch this game not only on the NFHS Network, but also on the Facebook Watch tab as part of the Road to State, brought to you by the NFHS Network.
Well, the Mustang flag crew, I talked about it earlier. It looks like they've dropped a few folks here in the second quarter. They've got N&S, so North Shore. They've slowed down the Mustang flag crew, and they've shortened it up to NS. So, you know, this is a game that, you know, I just did not know truly how good North Shore was. Seen them play a really great game against Katy throughout the season. They're in a district where, kind of like several of the Houston districts, you don't really get challenged week in, week out, and you're up big on people. But this team right here, they are clicking on all cylinders. But I will say this, Dickinson Gators up 28-0 over Clear Springs. This game is far from over.
Absolutely. The Gators are coming in averaging 43 points a game offensively, so they can get it going. They're going to need to. North Shore kicks it off. Left to right. It's going to be a touchback, so Dickinson will set up shop 1st and 10. Their own 25-yard line.
1st and 10 at the 25-yard.
We mentioned North Shore coming into the ballgame, number 2 in the state in 6A ball, ranked 29th nationally by Max Preps. So North Shore in a lot of national polls, along with being one of the top teams in the state of Texas, and you can see why.
Well, there was only 2 games they gave up teen points in. They gave 21 to Katy, 13 to Deer Park, had 4 shutouts, and then 2 3-point games and 2 7-point games. This defense is unbelievable.
So Welch hands it off on the jet sweep.
Number 6, Jordan Green, ball carrier.
Jordan Green on the carry. Not much there.
Joseph Wilson and number 43.
Game's about 1. So 2nd and 9 for Dickinson.
Gain of a yard.
Their own 26-yard line. He trips to the left. Mike Welch with Jordan Green to his right. Welch drops straight back. Looking seam. He's got a receiver wide open. He's got it for the catch. And he's going to get run down. What a play by the defensive back, or the linebacker there, number 42, Damon Lewis. Just ran down that receiver, Bert.
Well, but more importantly, that play right there, that's another one that, you know, he very easily could have overthrown or underthrown when you got that wide open a receiver. But that's the second time that play has been available, and good pitch and catch by Welch there.
Yeah, it was Gallagher on the reception. Mike Welch looking left side. Weidemeyer, Jalen Weidemeyer brings it in down to the 1-yard line. Jalen Weidemeyer just got back from a trip to Miami last week. Ohio State, Georgia.
Welch did a nice job of throwing that ball out there. He knew where he wanted to go on it, but again, he got popped right as he released it.
So Welch hands it off to Jordan Green. Jordan Green's getting stacked up about the 2-yard line. Might be a loss of about 1.
Offside defense, it looks like it's going to be, so that'll move him down from the 2 to the 1. Be 1st and goal from there.
Number 11.
So it's going to be 1st and goal from the 1-yard line for Dickinson. Gators trying to get on the board.
Yeah, in a normal situation, you just say, hey, let's run a quarterback sneak. But when you're going against these Fitzpatrick and Bradford right there in the middle, that's not a give me.
Looks like the Gators jumped off sides, the false start. Let's see what the call is. Referee's huddling up. Looked like it was offsides Dickinson, but here's the call.
Well, it looks like the Gators are going to catch their first break of the ball game. The game clock was not reset, so it's you got a yard on offsides for defense. You would have gave up 5 back, so in this case, pretty much a win situation for the Dickinson Gators. Or are they going to back it up here? Now they're talking again.
Moving it over to the left hash, but now they're coming back to the right side. Let's see where they mark it.
Left, right, left, right, left, right. Okay, we're going to go to the left. Well, you got to see a little bit of everything there, folks.
So first and goal for the Gators. Left hash, Welch under center. Welch tries the left side. There's no touchdown signal, must have been dropped short.
Well, I talked about it a few seconds ago. Now you're on the credit card inch line. If you look down there on the field, it's literally that close. But you got to be careful. Dickinson's got to be careful not to jump off sides, because then all of a sudden it puts you in a bad situation.
Welch in the gun, hands it to Jordan Green. He's stacked up. North Shore defense doing work.
Wow, there was a host of Dorian Houette just come flying in there to pop him and not allow him to get in there. They're going to lose from the credit card back to just inside the 1. So I'm a little surprised they didn't stay with quarterback draw 3 times.
So Welch fakes the handoff, little screen pattern. It's in for the touchdown. Cameron Gallagher, 1-yard touchdown rush for Dickinson. The Gators get on the board.
Well, we talked about it earlier. You know, the Gators have been in a situation where they were up 28-0, and you know, just like that, your defense now has something to build on over there. Go back out there, get a stop. Still 9 minutes to go here in this second quarter. A lot of football left to be played here at Galena Park ISD.
Guillermo Garcia Rodriguez in for the extra point. The kick is up and good.
There's a flag all the way across the field. Let's just hear what that is. Probably going to be offsides against the defense, so I don't know if that'll come on the kickoff. If they'll get the 5 yards, we'll go down the field and get the final call. Penalty be declined. They'll take the extra point. And Mike, that was a good drive right there. And now, again, we go back to one play, and Dickinson has 14 on the board, and you just feel different against the, in this ball game. The key is going to be is how many stops can this Dickinson defense get between here and when the final fourth quarter second runs off, and that's going to be the key. I mean,
that's a great point, Bird. You know, North Shore's had great field position this, whole first half as well. They've had, with like the 40-yard line every possession. So that's key as well. The field position battle is definitely gone to North Shore's favor in this first half as well.
Well, and you get a big stop, and then you turn the ball over on third and about a half a yard. So, and of course, North Shore does what they do. They take advantage of turnovers and goes down and scores a touchdown.
Guillermo Garcia Rodriguez kicks it off for Dickinson. It's fielded about the 3-yard line. He's got a hole down the left side. He's got room. It's number 22, Ravion Shelton.
Well, I see 3 flags on the field, so I'm not sure which one. One's going to be thrown at about the 18-yard line, so typically that's going to be fairly simple. It's going to be some form of blocking in the back, holding. but just waiting downfield to make sure there wasn't no face mask on the other end of that, offsetting type penalties. Looks like they're all coming back to around the 18, so they'll back them up from there. So North Shore will go down the field.
Foul during the play, both by the receiving team. Holding, number 20, penalty, holding, number 20. That 10-yard will be enforced from the end of this front flag. First down.
Yeah, so it'll be half distance to the goal from around the 18-yard line. Ball should be placed right around the 9, and that's where North Shore will start this possession. So,
and this is what we talked about, Berg. This is poor field position for North Shore, so the Dickinson defense has to make a stop right here.
Well, and there hadn't been any turnovers on the North Shore side of the ball. You never want to see one team or the other make a mistake, but if you're a Dickinson Gator fan, you would definitely like to see a mistake made here.
So 1st and 10 for North Shore, their own 9-yard line. Demetrius Davis in the gun, hands it to Evans. Evans going to be stacked up, thrown for a loss. The Gator defense waking up.
Look like Landon Rowe in the middle of that. Cole Mouton.
2 senior linebackers have had fabulous careers at Dickinson, both 3-year starters. So 2nd and 9 for North Shore. Davis in the gun, hands it to Evans. Evans got a hole off the left side. Zach Evans got a lot of room. Zach Evans turning on the Jets. Zach Evans all the way down to the 14-yard line.
Well, you talk about Evans, you do not want to give him any kind of seam in the middle right there, and that's why you don't. He gets that edge, and next thing you know, that next gear's turned on, and he's 60, 70, 80 yards downfield. So.
Yeah, 76-yard run by Zach Evans. So 1st and 10 after the big run by Evans for North Shore in Dickinson territory, the 14-yard line, 1st and 10. Demetrius Davis in the gun. John Gentry the setback. And Davis takes it in for North Shore. Touchdown Mustangs. 14-yard touchdown run. Demetrius Davis.
Well, you talk about
that's too easy.
Yeah, offensive threats right there. And I mean, they got trips out to the right, single receiver left. They just run a read option, and there's just not enough men on the field. If you allow him to get the edge, which Davis did, I mean, he just literally jogged into the end zone. There was nobody near him.
Jonathan Villalobos in for the extra point. It's up and good. Well, North Shore leads it 35-7 over Dickinson. You're watching the NFHS Network Road to State on Facebook Watch. You can watch this game not only on the NFHS Network, but also on the Facebook Watch tab as part of the Road to State, brought to you by the NFHS Network.
Well, and I'm so blessed. Bert Brocker, owner of Texan Live, we're helping produce this game for them. So
absolutely,
just really appreciate being part of the big picture, and NFHS is such a big part, and the fact that they do all the state championships and what they do for high school sports in the great state of Texas. So great group of guys, and they're nationwide, and they really are committed to high school sports, and unbelievable what they do.
It's great to see high school football getting the, more and more coverage each season, Bert.
Yeah, and there's eight teams on the Road to State, and of course one comes out of Texas, and Facebook Watch, wants to be part of that, and they just do a phenomenal job of getting these kids the extra exposure that, it's just unbelievable for them.
Well, Jonathan Villalobos kicks it off for North Shore. It's a good one. It's going to be a touchback. So Dickinson will set up shop, 1st and 10, their own 25-yard line. North Shore rolling 35-7 here midway through the second quarter.
You come down to this game here today, and Dickinson finally did what they needed to do. They finished off a drive, and North Shore gets a penalty. Instead of starting at the 42, backed up to the 9, feel like, okay, we're in great shape, and 4 plays later, you're in pay dirt. So,
yeah, Zach Evans' 76-yard run was a big key in that drive. Mike Welch, completion to the left sideline. Good enough for the first down. About a 13-yard completion to Kai German.
13-yard gain to the 38-yard line.
So the Gators 1st and 10, their own 38-yard line. Welch in the gun. Jordan Green, the setback, trips to the right. Green gets the handoff. Bulls his way for about 5 yards. Good strong run by Jordan Green.
Number 6, Jordan Green, ball carrier. Stop made by number 93, Darius Fitzpatrick.
Bert, it's real unusual to see a team with a prolific offense like North Shore have the type of defense to go along with that prolific offense. I mean, they're just unmatched. I mean, it's just incredible. Their defense matches how prolific their offense is. They're really prolific on defense, too.
Well, and the thing is, they're so disciplined. That's a perfect example right there. Jordan Rebels. Ball got on the ground right there, and North Shore saying they have it.
Here's the call. The referee's huddling up at the 45-yard line.
Runner was down.
So Dickinson gets a break. They say the runner was down. So it's going to be 3rd and 3 from the 45-yard line.
Talked about it early, talked about it middle of the game, talked about it all the time. You got Jordan Rebels, Darius Fitzpatrick, Tony Bradford, and Ashton Reynolds there in the middle. And I mean, there's just like a wall there.
So Welch. Gallagher with the catch for the first down. About a 6-yard pickup. Cameron Gallagher, the sure hands out of the slot for the Gators, doing some good work here this afternoon.
Well, Dickinson made a break payoff earlier. Let's see if they can make one here. Ball going to be placed down right at the 49.
Mike Welch in the gun. Hands it off on the jet sweep. It's Jordan Green. Gains of about 3.
Corey Flagg out there. Joseph Wilson. And Stewart out there holding the edge, you know. And that's the thing. Everybody understands the discipline part of it, of what is my responsibility, what am I supposed to do, and they're just a well-disciplined team.
Welch getting pressure, avoids it. Mike Welch spins away from another tackler. He's going to pick up about 3 yards.
Number 5, Mike Welch on the keeper. Hit by number 33, Marco Brummer.
Yeah, when he goes bare back there and, you know, nobody in the backfield with him, he's got about 2 seconds before somebody from that defensive interior is going to get in his grill. And right there, a perfect example. Welch, instead of getting sacked, did a nice job of turning it north and south and making a 3rd and manageable here. Call it 3rd and 7.
So 3rd and 7 for Dickinson. Welch drops straight back. Design quarterback run. Mike Welch got some room down the left side. Mike Welch, the 25, 20, 15, 10, all the way down to the 6-yard line. 39-yard run by Mike Welch.
Well, and you got to give his...
He's dynamite.
Yes, he is. And you got to give his Kai German out there an assist for him picking up an extra 8 or 10 yards.
Excellent point. So Welch back in the gun. 1st and 10 from the 11. Weidemeyer brings it in for the touchdown. Jalen Weidemeyer. 8-yard touchdown catch.
Well, we talked about it earlier. That's a break that Dickinson got. Ball was on the ground. They said down by contact. Weidemeyer did a nice job right there. Big man. You see why a lot of the bigger colleges don't know that he'd necessarily be a wide receiver at the next level.
Tight end.
But boy, a tight end, I think he's got great hands. Big guy that convert into probably being a really, really good next level receiver at a big school somewhere.
Yeah, he's just so big. He's 6'5", 210, can run like the wind, can jump, and he's just hard to cover one-on-one, as you saw there on that touchdown catch. So Guillermo Garcia Rodriguez in for the extra point for the Gators. Gators getting a little bit of life here. 35-14 pending this extra point if it's good. So Rodriguez waiting for the snap. Guillermo's kick is up. And good.
That's going to be a rough in the.
Sure is, isn't it?
Yep. 5 yards. He leans over to Coach Nelson. Whether it's 5, 15, no matter what it is, you'd only move it to the 1.5.
Running into the kicker, defense, penalty is declined. Try is good.
So the penalties declines running into the kicker. So 35-14 North Shore. You're watching the NFHS Network Road to State on Facebook Watch. You can watch this game not only on the NFHS Network, but also on the Facebook Watch tab as part of the Road to State, brought to you by the NFHS Network.
Well, if you like shootouts, we definitely have that. If you like a game that was one-sided, but I'm going to continue throughout the whole ball game to go to the first possession of the Dickinson Gators. They had a wide receiver running wide open down the middle of the field that really and truly, Darrell Harris was wide open.
Oh, he was.
And nobody was going to catch him because he caught the ball around the 25-yard line. And you just keep thinking, what if? But more importantly, the Dickinson Gators in no way have given up in this ball game. Got to find some way to get a stop here, not give up any points before the end of this first half.
So the kickoff from Guillermo Garcia Rodriguez is a short one. Pooch kick to the left side of the field. North Shore, they're going to be down about the 26-yard line, so it'll be 1st and 10 for the Mustangs and on 26.
DJ Warnell absolutely blew up that kickoff return down there. He absolutely leveled somebody.
Yeah, DJ, he was honorable mention All-State last season. He's a junior this year, playing free safety on defense for the Gators. It's number 14. Here comes that prolific North Shore offense. They've been all business this afternoon. Demetrius Davis has trips to the left, and Zach Evans to his right. 1st and 10, the 26-yard line. Davis, straight drop back, lost it down the left sideline. The receiver stopped his pattern there.
Well, I think that was supposed to be a deep out. I originally thought the same thing you thought. I thought, well, maybe he was going to his wide receiver on a go route, but Simmons actually, I don't know, that was just a weird play right there.
So it brings up 2nd and 10 from the 26. Trips to the left.
Yeah, Paul Smith out there with the coverage.
Davis hands it off to Evans. Evans got a big hole right side. Zach Evans still on his feet. Drag 2 Gators down to the 48-yard line of Dickinson.
Wickler has had a couple saving touchdown tackles. He had the one on the previous drive, and right there, same thing. He don't make a touchdown saving tackle there.
Sure did. It's 26-yard pickup for Zach Evans, so he's over 100 yards rushing in his first half. Had a big 76-yard run on the previous drive to set up Davis's 14-yard touchdown. As we have 1st and 10, the Dickinson 49-yard line. North Shore. Davis hands it off to Evans. Evans right side gets to the edge. Another 8 yards for Zach Evans. The junior. You mentioned, Bert, he had 27 TDs last season. He's got over 20 this year. He's considered by some of the media to be the #1 back in the state of Texas.
Well, and I think the thing that nationwide, you know, again, being on Facebook Watch, this is good for him because this young man, so many people don't understand. He doesn't get to play the entire ball game. So you take a look at his numbers and you go, well, wait a minute. But the reality is Coach K, in most scenarios, has to pull him back. And I think if you actually played him more, his numbers would just be unbelievable.
Davis keeps it himself. It's going to be dropped for a loss. It's Kobe Mouton.
Yeah, Mouton did a nice job right there. Davis is very elusive, as we talked about all game, but Mouton would not let him out of his grasp, and good open field tackle there. And so going to bring up 3rd and 2 here. North Shore slowing it down. You don't see that very often, but they got plenty of time. A little over 3 minutes to go here in the first half.
So 3rd and 2. Chadwick Banks, leading receiver far right, trips to that side. To hand off to Evans. It's good enough for him. He breaks free. Zach Evans. All the way down to the 18-yard line. What a second effort there, Bert.
Well,
what more can we say?
I was going to say, I know anybody watching, it sounds like a broken record, but, you know, this young man, he just refuses to go down. He's going to run through tackles. And
so 1st and 10 for North Shore, threatening again the 19-yard line of Dickinson.
John Gentry checks in here, and he's been deadly. He's already been in pay dirt twice today, so, you know, this young man
doing some good work along with Ev. Trips to the left. Davis gets the snap. Hands it to Gentry. Gentry breaks to the right side. Gentry in for the touchdown. John Gentry, 19-yard touchdown run for North Shore.
Well, that's his 3rd touchdown. As I said, this young man he just refused to. It's just speed. And that's the thing. Evans, he can outrun people, but I don't think he's a 4-4 guy. Gentry, boy, when he turns north and south, you saw it there. I mean, it was just like a different gear, and he was just gone. He was in the end zone before he could even blink.
So Jonathan Villalobos in for the extra point. It's up. And good. North Shore leads at 42-14. You're watching the NFHS Network, Road to State on Facebook Watch. You can watch this game not only on the NFHS Network, but also on the Facebook Watch tab as part of the Road to State, brought to you by the NFHS Network. What a display of offense by North Shore in this first half. Boy, through the air, on the ground, Bert, just pick your poison. They can do it all, and can do it in a quick fashion.
Well, I mean, I talked about it earlier. I mean, it's just one of those situations where we got a team here that's so well balanced. And I guess that's saying that as you're continuing to go forward and you're looking to win a state championship, because that's the mark that John Kay has set up there on the big board. You got to do it 1 week at a time. But he understands discipline, and then he's got so many different read options, so many different receivers, running backs. It's just got to be a great feeling right now for him to have a ball team like this that are playing at such a high level, play in and play out.
No question. Jonathan Villalobos kicking it off for the Mustangs. Right to left. It's a good kickoff. It's going to be a touchback. So the Gators will set up shop 1st and 10 from their own 25-yard line. And every time the Gators have scored, North Shore's answered quickly.
Well, and that was the thing there. I talked about it. You actually saw North Shore slow it down a little bit, and still going to do the Dickinson Gators an opportunity to go down here and get points. But you've got to believe, you also have to be careful here. You don't want to dare turn the ball back over too quickly and give this North Shore offense one more possession before halftime.
So Mike Welch in the gun for Dickinson. Takes it himself. Good juke move by Mike. He's going to get about 8 yards on the carry.
Number 5, Mike Welch on the keeper.
You just see the quickness of Mike Welch. Come in this ball game, had 20 touchdowns on the ground, 21 through the air. So Mike Welch, the dual threat for the Gators, and he tosses it left side to Jalen Weidemeyer for the first down. Weidemeyer's 3rd catch of the ball game.
Well, and this is the kind of offense you're used to seeing. You've been calling them all year long. This is my first game to be on the call with them, but you know, this is what their offense does. They like putting up positive yards on first down. Then they can dink or dunk, and if it's a go route or something's there, then Welch can fire the ball downfield right there.
So first and 10, the Gators. They're on 38-yard line. Mike Welch.
Empty backfield.
Yeah, empty backfield. Mike Welch takes it himself. Design quarterback run. Mike Welch gets to the edge. Left side. Mike Welch. Gain of about 11.
Stopped by number 97, Tony Bradford.
Yeah, when you go trips to one side and 2 to the left and you go empty backfield and then you bring somebody in motion, kind of a jet sweep type fake, that backside quarterback draw is there if that defensive end doesn't hold that edge. And on a couple plays, they haven't done that.
So first and 10 Gators. Mike Welch down the left sideline looking for a receiver. He's got it. Let's see if it's inbounds.
Wow, what a catch. That was unbelievable. Darrell Harris, good pitch and catch.
Darrell, he's been their deep threat this year, and he runs really good routes as well. Nice catch there for the first down. Dickinson, first and 10. The North Shore 29-yard line. Mike Welch doing a nice job on this drive, leading the Gators down the field. So Welch back in the gun. Darrell Harris in motion. Mike rolls to his right. A lot of pressure, and he's going to get sacked. Good play by the linebacker from North Shore, number 45, I believe that is.
Well, they're going to take a timeout. We'll stay here, boy. That was a situation right there, though. That's where Mike Welch has got to get rid of that ball. He sees the pressure coming, even if he doesn't connect it. You see it in the NFL. One of the things Deshaun Watson, who's went on this now 7-8 game winning streak, that was one of the big things. You even saw him taking sacks, trying to make too much happen with his feet. And in that situation right there, Welch just got to throw the ball away. He's got a receiver out there on the outside. Just throw the ball over his head. And instead, you'd have second down and 10. Now you're backed up and you're in a second down and 16 situation. And that just puts you in you start limiting the kind of plays you can call. Dickinson has the timeout, so the time's not a factor with 1:09 here to go in this first half. But Dickinson's got to find some way to not worry about getting the first down right here. They've got to just draw something up that's good positive yardage and put it back then where on third down they've got choices. Do they go for it all or do just pick up the first down?
So second and 16 for Dickinson. The North Shore 36-yard line. This has been Jalen Weidemeyer territory most of the season for Dickinson. Mike Welch rolls right. It's incomplete.
Now that was a play right there where it didn't look like no matter what happened, there was going to be much developed. Damon Lewis was absolutely flying up.
That's a big sack by Jaden Rudolph of North Shore has put Dickinson back at the 36-yard line with a 3rd and 16.
On a team that's given up 7 points a game, or really 6.5, Coach K and this defense, they definitely want to stop here.
So Mike Welch in the gun. Mike tosses out Darrell Harris back to Welch, and Mike Welch is going to get swallowed up about the 34-yard line, so only a 2-yard gain.
Well, it was set up. All the big men were out front. Unfortunately, there were 3 defenders that were behind the big man of the offensive line right there. Play looked great, but unfortunately, they forgot to block 2 of the people along the way. So what appeared to be a play that looked like it had potential for big gain, if not a touchdown, is now going to keep clock running. Looks like Coach Nelson's going to run it down and probably take a timeout around the 10-second mark. Trying to look down there for the play clock. 15 on the. Yep, he's going to get a timeout with 12 seconds. Probably try to draw something up. Probably draw a play here to just throw it up and
in the end zone.
Yeah, give yourself one on kind of a Hail Mary here. And you got a couple big receivers. You got Weidemeyer. You got Davis. You can just throw it up and, pitch and catch and hope your man wins the battle.
Like Mike gained a little bit more confidence. Second quarter bodes well to the Gators in the second half. A little bit off with his passes in the first quarter, but in the coverage, I gained confidence. Well, the game when Mike Welch gains confidence, we'll see what happens in the second half. Mike Welch on this last drive of the first half.
Well, the thing was, if you find a player giving you a touchdown plus, you get those spots in half. You deferred in the first half, so that could have been a 14-point swing, which, from the Dickinson standpoint, would have been a gigantic thing. Right now, you've got 12.4 seconds, so almost got to get the ball in the end zone.
So the final play of the first half, Mike Welch in the gun, trips to the left. Mike, straight drop back, lofts it left side to the end zone. Jump ball.
Caught.
It's caught. Jalen Weidemeyer.
Touchdown, Dickinson Gators. Wow.
Jalen Weidemeyer bringing it home from 36 yards out from Mike Welch.
That was number 8. I apologize. Weidemeyer went up and touched the ball.
Cameron Gallagher.
Yeah.
There we go.
Came down in Cameron's hand. Little jump ball, touchdown Gators. Well, it doesn't matter how you get them, baby. It just matters you get them. And just like that, Dickinson Gators going to get to go in at halftime on something positive.
So Guillermo Garcia Rodriguez's extra point up and good.
2.7 seconds to go here, so there will have to be a kickoff and one play run.
The 42-21 North Shore after the Hail Mary to Cameron Gallagher from Mike Welch. That's got to give the Dickinson team and the fans a little bit of life as we head to halftime here shortly.
Well, this is where you got some dynamic returners here for the North Shore Mustangs, so be curious to see what they do here, how they set up. Last kickoff, they kind of move people around. Here it looks like they're going to just send their guys back and say, hey, here we are, kick it to us. And this is almost where your kicker, because he does have a big leg, just needs to kick the ball over everybody's head, put it in the end zone, and not give anybody an opportunity to get some form of a run back. Then you've got one play, you have to stop them.
So Guillermo Garcia Rodriguez will kick it off for Dickinson. Shadrick Banks back to receive on the left hash for North Shore. To see if they boot it away to him, as Bert said. And they do. It's a line drive to Banks. Banks up the middle, heads to the right sideline. Banks breaks a tackle. It's pushed out of bounds about the 36-yard line. Flags are down.
Yeah, but that's probably going to be against North Shore, and if it is, they'll decline it, and we'll go to halftime.
And now a look at what's trending in high school football around the country, presented by Max Preps.
What is good, streaming people? Welcome to another edition of CBS Sports HQ. I'm Tommy Tran. This is the high school football show where we take a look at the big games of the weekend and the top players across the country. Before I interview and bring in our guys right now that are flanking me in terms of our experts, we got to start with our top 10 list right now, the excellent 25 here in terms of the Max Preps rundown. And as you take a look, St. John Bosco still at number 1. Allen, Texas, we will be talking about the Eagles. They're perfect so far this season. And then going on the way down to the list, we know IMG Academy. They are at 7-1, finished for now. And then over in Hawaii, aloha to those be watching right now, all the way in the Pacific as St. Louis at number 10 on that list. All right, so I mentioned bringing in our guy, Zach Poff, Mr. Everything, the football editor, joining us from Northern California over at Max Preps, then Barton Simmons, 24/7 Sports in the Nashville, Tennessee area. Good to have you guys here. And, boy, let's break down the top game. Of course, Oaks Christian and J. Sarah Catholic. Now, I do want to say right now that, of course, with the wildfires going on in Southern California, postponing the game tonight, so it looks like they're going to try to play that game tomorrow. But, Zach, tell us a little bit more about this game.
Yeah, man, obviously, like you said, Tommy, first and foremost, worried about the fires, hope all the families and everyone's safe down there first. But it looks like this game will go down tomorrow night on Saturday. This is going to be a big-time game. For Max Preps, we have this as our game of the week. Oaks Christian comes in 11-0 in the top 25 at number 19. They're loaded with talent led by Kayvon Thibodeau, the #1 player on 24/7 Sports composite rankings. But they face their biggest test of the year against J. Sarah Catholic, a team that's very underrated. Their only 2 losses this year came against Mater Dei and St. John Bosco. And just to show you how good they are real quick, they played Bosco tougher than Mater Dei did.
That is quite the statement right there. And Zach laying down, of course, the game as California and the CIF state playoffs get underway. Barton, he brought up Kayvon Thibodeau. Can you give us an update on the highly touted recruit?
I can. Kayvon Thibodeau right now, still waiting on his announcement, which is going to come in mid-December. But as we follow this recruitment and sort of track the way the tea leaves are shifting in this one, a guy that had been sort of pointed towards Florida State there for a while is suddenly getting a lot of buzz about Oregon. Took a visit just a few weeks ago to Oregon, a program that was probably running maybe 4th in the race for his commitment at that point, and they just knocked it out of the park. And since then, we've been waiting for the buzz to wear off and the shine of that visit to diminish, and it doesn't seem to have gone anywhere. And all of a sudden now, a lot of our national experts for 24/7 Sports have shifted their crystal ball predictions for Oregon for this one, which would be obviously a huge get for Mario Cristobal. He was supposed to go to Florida for an official visit this weekend. Those wildfires that you referenced, Tommy, have forced that to be postponed and rescheduled. But again, that's not one I think anyone's expecting to come in and be able to steal. I really think this is now Oregon sitting in the driver's seat, and if they land him, man, that's part of what has continued to be a historic class for Mario Cristobal at Oregon this fall.
The recruiting wars, and we'll get to a couple of other recruiting storylines here during the show. But again, we're talking about the #1 player in 2019. Zach, we were talking about the California playoff picture. That's your game of the week. We also have Mater Dei, which you referenced to, at Mission Viejo, another big game out there in California. Tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, this is a huge game. Mission Viejo comes in with only 1 loss on the field. They had to forfeit a few wins because of an ineligible player. Same thing with Mater Dei. But this is one of the best games. The CAF Southern Section Division I bracket, we just came out with our top 10 toughest brackets. This one checked in at number 2, which is pretty impressive because it only features 16 teams. This is a huge game. Mission Viejo, they lost legendary head coach Johnson, and Chad Johnson's done a phenomenal job taking over the former Bosco offensive coordinator. I think Mater Dei is going to win big, though. I think when you just, line it up talent for talent, you got to go with the Monarchs, and Bryce Young and Brew McCoy have been one of the most dynamic duos in high school football, and I love what Keon Ware Hudson's doing on the defense for the Monarchs, too.
So that's a look at Mater Dei and Mission Viejo. Let's also take a look at the top 5 scoreboard in terms of the top teams in the country in action. Quickly give us an update on St. John Bosco, Zach. What are we thinking about the Braves right now and how they're doing?
I think they're going to win big tonight against San Clemente, a team that's lost 4 games this year. San Clemente did prove they can hang with some of the best teams in SoCal this year, beating Viejo. But I like St. John Bosco to win big, and it would set up a meeting against the winner of Oaks Christian and J. Sarah Catholic next week in the semifinals. All
right, let's move on to our Max Preps Excellent list in a different tier. We're taking a look at schools 11 through 20 and highlighting number 17, Duncanville. 9-0, won big last night. So my question to you, Zach, is why aren't they ranked higher?
It just comes to, the strength of schedule. They haven't been playing the best teams in Texas. That's going to change, though, with the 6A Division I playoffs coming up. We ruled that the #1 toughest playoff bracket to win in high school football, which says a lot because there's a ton of big-time brackets out there. If Duncanville can win that, expect them to see jump all the way into the top 5 potentially by the end of the year. Just to show you how tough that bracket is, they're probably going to open up with DeSoto, and DeSoto's got some of the most talented players in all of Texas. I expect Duncanville to make it all the way to the semifinals, which would potentially set up a matchup against the defending 6A D1 state champs, Allen, the number 2 team in the top 25, who also won big last night.
And if they are to do that, what are some of the key Panthers that will be leading the way?
Jaquindon Jackson, man. This kid's an absolute baller at quarterback. And, they got the Beeson cousins, Marquise Beeson, close to being a 5-star, one of the best overall athletes in high school football. And they got a big-time defense, too. But the quarterback's the guy that gets it going, man. He's kind of a Vince Young out there, can beat you with his legs and his arm. Super big kid. Jaquindon Jackson, super saucy quarterback out in Texas.
All right, so we're taking a look at the school profile, also the top recruits in terms of Duncanville. Now let's finish off the last Max Preps Excellent 25 rankings in 21 through 25. Teams that we've talked about before, DeMatha, Colerain, Folsom, University Lab, all on that list, with also Archbishop Hoban there at number 21. Other notable games to also focus on. We have not talked about De La Salle in a bit. Now, you can always catch them, cbssports.com/De La Salle, live stream what the Spartans are doing. That's not too far from where you're at right now, but give us a look and a preview of this Pittsburgh-De La Salle matchup.
All right, so check this out. Last time De La Salle lost to a Northern California opponent, I was 4. I just turned 31 this past weekend, so it was a long, long time ago. The team that beat De La Salle, though, was the team they're playing tonight, and that's Pittsburgh High School. I don't expect that streak to come to an end, though. I like De La Salle to win this one big. De La Salle's next big game won't come until the CIF Open Division State Championship game. They got to win 2 more games to get there, but I don't think that's going to be a problem for a team that's dominated Northern California football. Henry To'oto'a, watch out for that guy. He's a beast linebacker.
All right, that's a breakdown in terms of the high school games. Do not go anywhere. When we come back, Zach will have the regional breakdowns. Barton will have the recruiting storylines. All that and more next. You are streaming CBS Sports HQ. Time to talk about the West Coast region in high school football. It is stacked, of course, as you might expect. Number 1, St. John Bosco. Number 2, Mater Dei. Number 3, Corona Centennial. Number 4, St. Louis. By the way, the Crusaders on a bye week before the Hawaii D1 Open Division playoffs begin. And then we talked about De La Salle in our earlier segment. Moving on to the Southwest. Talking about a top 5 team. Number 2 on the excellent 25 rank, and that is number 1 in the region, Allen, Texas. So they also had themselves a performance on Thursday night. So again, Zach Poff, Mr. Everything, the football editor over at Max Preps. How good is this Eagles team?
They're real good, man. There's a reason why I have them as the number 2 team. They haven't lost a game since 2016. They've won 27 consecutive games. And they're going to be the favorites going into the toughest playoff bracket, the 6A D1 bracket out in Texas. And last night they ended their regular season a perfect 10-0 with a 63-7 win over Plano West. And, they might have the best duo in high school football with Grant Tisdale, a 2019 Ole Miss commit at quarterback, along with Theo Weiss, a 2019 Oklahoma commit at wide receiver. He very well could be the best wide receiver in high school football. EJ and Doma Ogar on the offensive line. Big-time offensive lineman. Defense has been nasty this year with Jaden Jernigan. They're going to be the favorites to win it, but 6A D1's tough, man. You got to earn it out there in Texas. It's like March Madness. You got to win 6 games in 6 weeks if you want to win it all. Obviously, March Madness doesn't take 6 weeks, but you get what I'm saying.
No doubt. Always love the analogies. Sometimes it's video games. Other times it's the NFL. But here we're breaking down the Eagles, which are flying high right now. Moving on to the Southeast region. Colquitt County, where are they on this list? Number 3 in the region, number 9 nationally. And we joke a little bit about two-a-days with Hoover out of Alabama, but Rush Probst is the Mr. Two-a-day, leads Colquitt County. Zach, what are the chances that they get that 3rd title since 2008?
I'm going to say the chances are pretty good. They're probably the favorite to win it all. They're the top-ranked team in Georgia, but in that top 10 playoff bracket we came out with, we had Georgia 7A as the 3rd toughest. So obviously there's a lot of other big-time Georgia teams in there. Probably the toughest competition for Colquitt County would potentially be a matchup against Grayson, who's loaded with talent. They got over 20 D1 stars, guys that are going to be playing in Power 5 conferences. They're loaded, led by Owen Papo. But I think Colquitt County, when it comes to well-balanced and, just having a great coach, I don't know if anyone's as good as Colquitt County. They're good on offense. They're great on defense. Jay Ward, a guy that Barton's going to be hitting on later, he's one of the best corners in all of Georgia. So I'm leaning towards Colquitt County to hold up the 7A trophy this year and get Coach Props his third since taking over in 2008.
Real quick follow-up. You sort of, I know you want to kind of get there and fully back Colquitt County. Where do you see the biggest road bump or obstacle ahead?
There's a couple of tough teams I have circled that I could see maybe being a roadblock for Colquitt County. I would say Grayson obviously would be one of them. And Archer's a team I like a lot in this Georgia bracket also, too. They got a big-time defense led by a strong secondary. Andrew Booth's one of the best overall players. I think Archer's a team that could potentially get hot. But you never know, man. Georgia's like Texas, California, and Florida. They got a bunch of dogs out there, and we're going to see who's hungriest at the end.
All right, good stuff, Zach. Now moving on to a different region, and we'll tackle the Midwest region, show you the 5 there. Still led by Warren Central out of Indiana, then Archbishop Hoban, Colerain, Washington, and Mentor. 4 of those schools out of the state of Ohio. Moving on to the Northeast as we take a look. St. John's, D.C., St. Francis Academy, St. Joseph's Prep, DeMatha, and Bergen Catholic, having some playoffs begin in those regions with some of those schools. So those are just some of the look at the top teams in that region. And as we take a look at some of the other things coming up, we're going to take a quick break. The recruiting storylines. Barton Simmons is going to be joining me next. Welcome back to CBS Sports HQ, the high school football show. Time for the recruiting storylines. And we've got 2 topics. Kentucky loses commit after LSU offer, and TCU picks up big-time sleeper. With more, Barton Simmons, Director of Scouting, 24/7 Sports. And Jay Ward decommits from Kentucky, so he's got an offer from LSU. What's the latest on the 3-star corner and sort of the crystal ball projection here, Barton?
Well, we're at the point in the season, Tommy, where senior tape's starting to come out, and colleges are starting to go down their board a little bit. Maybe they missed the first couple, and now they're scouring the country. And you see a guy like Jay Ward, who's at Colquitt County, who you guys talked about just a little bit ago. He's 6'1" plus, super long, was committed to Kentucky and was going to fit in really nicely with what they've built in the defensive backfield in terms of these 6'2", 6'3" corners and defensive backs. Well, he's kind of played too well this fall. I mean, you turn on the film and it's awesome. And LSU, what caught their attention, they circled back, extended an offer there in late October, and here recently he is decommitted from Kentucky and opened things back up. And you got to think LSU is now the lead. The crystal ball is trending in that direction, but I wouldn't be surprised if a few other schools come in and muddy the waters even further. He's pretty good, and at 6'2", to be able to do the things he does, with the ball skills he has, and to change the directions he shows, he's got a chance to be pretty special and potentially add to what's been obviously an unbelievable defensive back tradition at LSU.
Man, I saw that high school photo of him. Looks a little skinny, but boy, once he hits that program, Barton, you mentioned the 6'1", 6'2" aspect of it. Very impressive, good get for what we think will be the Tigers there. Another one is Blair Conrad, Lubbock, Texas guy, Coronado High School. What do we know more about him and his situation?
Yeah, this is my guy here. This is a guy who, and look, TCU does this better than anybody. Devontae Turpin is sort of one of the better examples here of late. A kid out of Louisiana who just had Louisiana Tech type of offers. TCU goes down there, gets him, and he turned into a dynamic playmaker for that program. Blair Conrad could be the next guy in that line. TCU just picked up a commitment from him. The only other offers he had were schools like Texas State, and he did have a Kansas offer, but SMU types were who offered him. And I've seen this kid in person, and he is an outstanding route runner, great competitor, outstanding ball skills. He's been incredibly productive on the high school level, albeit West Texas is not as good of a talent and competition level as we talk about generally on this show in the East Texas schools. But the kid does it on the basketball court. He's a 22-foot long jumper. So I think TCU has found themselves another sleeper, another steal. He's a little bit undersized, but that offense knows how to utilize those space athletes, and I think he's the next in line there in Fort Worth.
Good stuff as always in terms of the recruiting storylines. Bringing back in Zach Poff here. Let's take a look at the top 5 scoreboard. And before we let everybody go, Zach, which one is the highest on the sauce meter here?
I'm going Viejo Mater Dei, man. Mater Dei potentially could have Bosco in a couple weeks. They got a ball out this week and then maybe next week against number 8 Corona Centennial. So I got the Monarchs circled. Also out in D.C., Gonzaga, St. John's. That's going to be a fun one, man. Second straight week these two teams are playing this time in the playoffs. So it's going to be fun, baby. All
right, another week of high school football. Nobody does it better than the guys flanking me here on the screen, Zach Poff and Barton Simmons. Guys, thank you so much, and thanks for joining us here on CBS Sports HQ. Don't forget about the 24/7 college football pod, Week 11 locks with Barton. Our guy Chip Patterson, Tom Fornelli, all making them picks. What about Alabama and Mississippi State? Q's in Louisville, that and more. Have a good weekend, everybody. We'll see you.
Download the free Fox Sports Southwest Football Friday app. Get live high school scores from across the state. Check out team schedules and show your school spirit live online. Download the best high school football app in Texas. Search Football Friday. Friday high school football isn't over till you watch High School Scoreboard live. Final scores, big plays, plus the DQ Big Game of the Week.
Be a part of the most watched high school football show in Texas.
Friday nights on Fox Sports Southwest. The best high school football teams in Texas collide inside AT&T Stadium, all battling to be crowned champions. Get your tickets now for the UIL State Championships. Be a part of this Texas tradition. Log on to Ticketmaster.com. Friday high school football isn't over till you watch High School Scoreboard live. Final scores, big plays, plus the DQ Big Game of the Week.
Be a part of the most watched high school football show in Texas.
Friday nights on Fox Sports Southwest. Download the free Fox Sports Southwest Football Friday app. Get live high school scores from across the state. Check out team schedules and show your school spirit live online. Download the best high school football app in Texas. Search Football Friday. Friday high school football isn't over till you watch High School Scoreboard live. Final scores, big plays, plus the DQ Big Game of the Week.
Be a part of the most watched high school football show in Texas.
Saturday night on Fox Sports Southwest.
You're watching the NFHS Network Road to State on Facebook Watch. You can watch this game not only on the NFHS Network, but also on the Facebook Watch tab as part of the Road to State, brought to you by the NFHS Network. Your host, Mike Armstrong, along with Burt Brocker on color. We're at halftime. 6A Division I Region 3 matchup at Galena Park ISD Stadium. North Shore, the number 2 team in the state, leads it at the half, 42-21 over Dickinson. Both teams coming in this ballgame state ranked. North Shore number 2 in the state, Dickinson number 16 in the state. In that first half, you can see the prolific North Shore offense. They can really choose your poison through the air, on the ground. Zach Evans over 100 yards. John Gentry a couple of touchdowns, and we'll bring you up to date with some stats from Burt Brocker.
Yeah, Evans had 9 carries for 169 yards. Gentry 5 carries for 46 yards. Davis had 6 carries for 101 yards on the North Shore side. And, you know, and we asked a question. We knew Dickinson's defense was good, but we knew North Shore's offense was great. And at this point in time, outside of 4 possessions where they got stops, I mean, North Shore's almost looked unstoppable. They just, with that read option, they've just got so many different weapons and so many different ways to go. And then Welch, of course, got hot. He's got 195 yards, but unfortunately for him, he's having to do it from behind. And, you know, and that's a situation, if you were the Dickinson Gators, you wanted to be methodical. You wanted to move the ball down the field. You wanted to keep Davis and Evans over on the sideline so that you eliminate the amount of possessions that they had throughout the game and put yourself in a better situation. The one thing that did transpire, and there's no stat here that will talk about it, but we will. 4th down, 12 seconds to go, first half. Dickinson gets the ball the second half. Welch throws up the ball. It's tipped by Watermeyer. And, of course, I'll let you talk about who came down with it, and an unbelievable catch for a touchdown.
Yes, that was Cameron Gallagher with that catch from the tip from Watermeyer. And what a way to finish the first half for the Gators, as you mentioned, Bert. That's just what the Gators needed and their Gator Nation needed. They needed some momentum going into half. They do get the second half kickoff, but boy, you hit it right on the head with the North Shore offense. It's just prolific. They just can, they just make it look too easy out there. I mean, running or passing the football, they can do both effectively. And then the defense, even though they gave up 21 points, we saw how they gave up the last one on that Hail Mary, but the defense has been prolific this season as well. But what I really liked to see at the end of that first half was Mike Welch gaining confidence. That tells me that Dickinson is going to go after North Shore in the second half. And I wasn't so sure of that at the end of the first quarter. I thought North Shore was going to blow them out. Dickinson was going to go away, just be happy to get on the bus and go home. But that last play for Dickinson in that first half showed me that the Gators are going to get after North Shore in the second half.
Well, for those that wasn't watching the ball game, early in the ball game, of course, North Shore gets the ball, first possession, first down, didn't pick up much, actually lost 2 yards, and all of a sudden 4 plays later, we're down in the end zone. And that is the kind of high-powered offense they have. Dickinson says no problem. They move the ball, had a wide open receiver, Harris, running down the seam on a play. Welch, I promise you, completes 99% of the time. Did not put enough air underneath it, led his receiver by about, it's a matter of inches, and it literally was. For that reason, ball ended up on the ground, did not pick up first down on third down, ended up having to punt. 21 points later, Dickinson's still on the goose egg. North Shore's got 21, and it looked like we were fixing to have a rout. And all of a sudden, you go back and forth. Then they get the ball. They get their stop that they were looking for. They get the ball, 3rd down and 1, and the young running back puts it on the ground. Dickinson gets the ball in the 30. 2 plays later, they're in the end zone. So it's like, holy cow, we're back to that route again. Dickinson Gators have to be proud of themselves, hold their head high, regardless of what the end result is. But the beautiful part about high school football, saw Crosby come back from a 21-point deficit, saw Kingwood come back from a 21-point deficit, saw Katy the second week. Katy got beat by this North Shore team, and then the Katy Tigers was down to the Atascocita Eagles 21-0 and come back and won that game. Katy's up 42-7. So everything right now on paper appears that you will have number 1, 2, 3 in the state, North Shore Mustangs, taking on the number 8 through 15, depending on whose rankings you're looking at. Katy Tigers with 1 loss, and the only loss being so far here is to North Shore. Dickinson Gators, Coach Nelson, Welch, and these seniors over there on that other side, they don't quite see it to that game yet. They still got 2 quarters to play football, and they're going to come out motivated, no doubt.
Well, it should be an interesting second half. Speaking of Katy, they've got 8 state titles to their credit, so they're on par with North Shore as far as state titles go. In fact, they're ahead of them in state titles, so that would be quite a matchup next week. But Dickinson may have something to say about that here in the second half. Like I said, I like what I see from Mike Welch in that first half. And if Mike Welch gets confidence, that whole Gator team will, and Gator Nation will. And, a break here, break there, and anything can happen.
The big question will be, and it's one of the things, say, Facebook Watch, we talked about it earlier. A lot of these young men on this North Shore team, they were ahead at halftime anywhere from 35 to 52, 55 to nothing. So if you're looking at the stats across the platform and you just go in and you look at pure numbers, a lot of guys are like, well, Davis didn't have that good a year, Evans didn't have that good a year, and not saying that they wasn't good numbers, but they wasn't just light years ahead of everybody. But what the world doesn't understand, and what a lot of these coaches from out of state don't understand, these kids didn't see the field. Coach K pulled the horns back. At some point in time, you've got to stop just a pure route. And even though that's the right thing to do with high school football, it definitely affects, what the end stats are on these young men at the end of the season, because they're not getting to play 4 quarters of football.
Absolutely. Well, if you look at Zach Evans' numbers for North Shore, the running back, as you said, he's played mostly half a game most of the season. He's averaged 9.4 yards a carry. So in high school, if you're over 6, right at 7, that's a D1 caliber type back in most situations. So 9.4 for Evans in 19 touchdowns speaks well for him. So Zach Evans, and we saw him in the first half, Bert, well over 100 yards and a couple touchdowns. So Zach Evans passes the eye test for sure.
Yeah, 9 carries, 169 yards.
There you go, 169.
I
shorted him, didn't I?
Yeah. Davis, 101 yards, and or Gentry, excuse me. And it's just, like I said, it's just one of these ball games right now where this first drive could set the tone for how the second half of this ball game's played, though. Of course, the North Shore up 42-21, but Dickinson Gators scored a touchdown, 42-28. I talked about it in the broadcast in the first half. Dickinson Gators, in their only loss this season, were up 28-0. So they understand, regardless of what the scoreboard says, down 21, they're still in the ball game if their defense can find some way to get stops. And that's really, I'm sure, what the big conversation was. We're not going to stop them every possession.
Right.
But how many stops can we get the second half? Is that 4? Is that 5? Is that 6? And because Dickinson's offense doesn't score that fast as North Shore, they can do it in a matter of 3-4 plays in a minute and a half. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
Again, it's just this game, there was a lot of coaching going on. 2 super leaders in there, Coach Nelson, Coach K. North Shore Mustangs coming back on the field here, getting ready for this second half. They'll be kicking the ball off to the Dickinson Gator, and we're just a matter of seconds away before this second half is going to get underway and let the game play itself out.
So we're about set for the third quarter. North Shore with a 42-21 lead over Dickinson, but the Gators with that big Hail Mary to end the first half to get some momentum. We'll see if that carries over to their first possession of the third quarter. It's a beautiful afternoon here at Galena Park ISD Stadium. 6A.
21-6A, and boy, what a, this stadium, it's a little bit older compared to a lot of the stadiums that are the new builds here, but what a great stadium is. What a legacy. State championships, you look over there on the board, and it's just this team right here. They've done many things in the past, and they're looking to continue that opportunity here.
So North Shore will kick it off right to left as we start the third quarter. North Shore out 21-6A. Dickinson out 24-6A. North Shore in the all red, white numbers, kicks it off. And it's going to be fielded about the 10-yard line. And a good return down the left side for Dickinson.
Well, you talk about needing momentum switch. You got it on the Hail Mary pass for a touchdown right before the half, and that was appear to be a touchdown saving tackle there by the Mustang special teams.
DJ Warnell on return for Dickinson. They'll set up shot 1st and 10. They're on 43-yard line. Mike Welch accumulated 195 yards in that first half. He's back in at quarterback in the gun. Jordan Green to his right. Mike, straight drop back, getting pressure, and he's going to get sacked. Big number 97, Tony Bradford for North Shore.
Well, that was a screen play. It was set up, but nice job by the linebackers there of not allowing that ball to be thrown. And again, we talked about it in the first half. Welch has got to find some way to fire that ball at somebody's feet and save himself, in this case, 14 yards.
So second and forever from the 30-yard line for Dickinson. Welch rolls left, sets his feet, tosses it down the left sideline.
Ball's caught, I believe.
I believe that's Darrell Harris with the catch. Just out jumped 2 defenders and brings it in for Gators for the first down.
Harris did a phenomenal job right there of going up and high pointing that ball. But more importantly, he had inside position there. There was double coverage out there on the outside. Harris went up, he high pointed it, and then brought the ball into his chest. Did not allow the defender to break that play up. And it was great coverage out there. One of those situations where, you know, you look at that play and you think, how did it? And Mike Welch, got to give him kudos for where he threw that ball. He threw that ball up to a position where he knew his big man could go up and have a legitimate opportunity to come down with the ball. One of the things that happens here is we're going to go to a wide shot. There is a player down on the field. He's getting up on his feet. That's great news for both sides.
So after the catch by Darrell Harris, Dickinson will have first down at the North Shore 43-yard line. This is their opening drive of the third quarter. There's a nice hand from the crowd for Upton Stout, number 5 for North Shore.
Well, that was a play where they both were going up for the ball. Probably just came down, got the breath knocked out of him a little bit there. Walking out across the field on his own.
Dickinson, 1st and 10, the North Shore 43-yard line. Mike Welch in the gun, Jordan Green to his right. Welch, straight drop back, rolls to his right, getting pressure. Mike avoids it. Mike gets to the edge, but bumped out of bounds after about a 1-yard gain.
Well, and that's where you want to see your receivers. When you see that quarterback in trouble like that, come back to him. Of course, Harris was running a deep post route there, but he continued to run that route. And of course, Welch there turning and running for his life right there at the last second. But nice job defensively by the Mustangs of not allowing Welch to get that outside edge and tracking him down.
Absolutely. 2nd and 10 for Dickinson. Harris in motion. Welch keeps it himself for no gain.
Fitzpatrick there blowing that play up in his defensive tackle position. He's excited about it, and so he should be.
So 3rd and 10 for the Gators. The North Shore 43-yard line. Darrell Harris, Kai Sherman split out far left. Weidemeyer to the right side.
Well, you think about that first possession again. This is kind of the field where they went dead. And got a 3rd and 10 here. Got to find some way to pick up first down.
Mike under center. Rolls right. Getting a lot of pressure. It's intercepted.
He's going to go the distance, folks. That's big man Jordan Revels. And he is going to score a defensive touchdown.
So pick 6 for Jordan Revels, North Shore. Strikes first in the third quarter. Revels got some speed for a big man, picks it off, and see you later. Nobody within 15 yards of Jordan Revels.
Well, we've been talking about it on the offensive side of the ball. It's the same thing on the defensive side of the ball. These guys all have good numbers, not great numbers, but a lot of that has to do, they're not playing every down, kind of a similar type deal. This defensive line, Jordan Revels, you know, what a big man he is, leading the way right there in tackles for the North Shore Mustangs.
So Kick is up. Kick is up and good.
Well, you know, you look at this ball game and you thought, man, Dickinson Gators got a good kickoff return. You put themselves in a good position, get sacked on first down, pick up a long play with a great catch down there by Darrell Harris, and then that play there looked like it was designed to be a fake to the right and then a backside screen. Jordan Revels, and that's what you want to see at the next level. Stayed home, played his position, and showed he has hands. And when you do that as a defensive player, I mean, that separates yourself. Ed Oliver, one of the young men that played for the University of Houston, graduated from Westfield, Houston guy, and is really, really talented. Should be a first-round pick high. And I said it when I watched Rebels that first game. With his motor, with his ability to bounce off of blockers and get in there and create havoc, he potentially could be, that next level type player. So be real curious to see how he does going forward.
So North Shore kicks it off. Villalobos. Harris fields it about the 2-yard line, goes out of bounds at the 4-yard line. His forward momentum carried him out of bounds. No, Darrell wishes he had that one back, but nonetheless, Dickinson will be pinned back deep at their own 4-yard line. After the Rebels pick 6, North Shore leads at 49-21. You're right, Bert. Rebels, what an athlete he is, and the speed he showed on that pick 6, as well as what you said, the athletic ability, the power and the strength and the quickness and good technique. Just a total package. So the Gators from their own 5-yard line. Mike Welch back out to lead the Gator offense. Welch standing in his own end zone. Rolls to his left. Pass a little bit wide for Darrell Harris. There's a flag down.
We'll go down the field and see what the call is. Looks like going to be holding against the defense. Be a 5-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
So a break for Dickinson. It is a hold against North Shore. A little bit of breathing room. They'll get 1st and 10 at their own 15-yard line.
Jaden Rudolph checked in for Jordan Rebels. Probably down here getting him a little oxygen.
So Welch back in the gun. Takes it himself. Not much room there. Left side. A gain of about 1.
Flag there, the leading tackler for the North Shore Mustangs, just blowing that play up from his middle linebacker position.
Now 2 on the play. Brings up 2nd and 8.
So 2nd and 8 for Dickinson. Their own 16-yard line. Mike Welch in the gun. Jordan Green the setback. Welch straight drop back, gets pressure. Pass is complete, but only for about 2 yards to Cameron Gallagher.
Yeah, but Keon Stewart there showing his speed of running step for step. That was a play again. Everybody was in Mike Welch's face there, but he did a good job of getting the ball completed. But, man, the speed of this North Shore defense is just unbelievable, flying around the ball and making good open field tackles, because he misses that. There wasn't much behind him as far as the line of defense is concerned.
So 3rd and 7 for Dickinson. Welch with the snap, rolls to his left. Pass is complete for the first down. Weidemeyer breaks the tackle. Weidemeyer out to the 34-yard line for the Gators for the first down. Jalen Weidemeyer, so tough to bring down one-on-one.
And honestly, Mike, I thought we'd see more of him today. He hadn't had the year that we thought he'd had, even though he's had a great year, but thought I'd see more of him. And, it's a situation here where it might be game time, baby.
So Welch, straight drop back. Lost it down the seam. It's picked off. It's intended for Darrell Harris. Picked off by Upton Stout.
Once again, Stout had that center field, great position, running step for step. Did not run through the receiver, waited for the ball to get there, and then went up and fought the battle and came down with the turnover.
Just excellent one-on-one coverage from Stout. lived up to his last name there, stout coverage.
Stout coverage, baby.
So North Shore takes possession at their 25-yard line, 1st and 10. They lead it 49-21 over Dickinson. Class 6A, Division I Region 3 matchup here at Galena Park ISD Stadium. Demetrius Davis waiting for his snap for North Shore. Straight drop back. Davis lost right side a little too long. Lieutenant Zach Evans out of the backfield. A wheel pattern.
Yeah, just a wheel out there by Evans. Yeah, that offensive line wants to do a nice job now, and that's the setback in the pocket. And originally he looked at the go route down the seam, and it was not there. And of course had the backup plan, and by that time pressure had gotten his face and errant throw there. But I've seen very many errant throws today.
True. Davis, 2nd and 10, hands it off to Evans. Evans bounces off a tackler, tries to get to the edge, but too many Gators there to meet him for no gain. Landon Roque.
Yeah, and David Hall there on the backside pursued. Hall did not give up on that play, come all the way from right side field there. And nice job by him of tracking that ball down.
So 3rd and 10 for North Shore, their own 25-yard line.
Well, you're looking for victories, and this would be one.
Trips to the left.
Got to get a stop here if you're the Dickinson Gators.
Davis waiting for the snap. He's got it. Straight drop back. Down the seam. Incomplete. Good coverage by DJ Warnell, number 14.
Yeah, Coach K's down there giving them an earful, but at the end of the day, had great inside coverage there, running step for step. You're not going to get that call very often because the defender actually had managed to get the inside position, and he's got as much right to the ball as the offensive receiver does as long as he turns around and looks for it.
So North Shore will have to punt it away. Savion Arnett set to receive for Dickinson at his own 39-yard line.
Dickinson should get really good field position here.
They should indeed. Here's the snap. And there's a whistle. See what the call is.
Delay of game. So now they should even get better field position. Little surprised Dickinson don't have 2 men back to return this, just for the simple fact that in today's world, you don't want to let the ball get on the ground and roll around. Typically that always goes to the punter's advantage.
So North Shore punter standing at his own 7-yard line. Savion Arnett back to receive for the Gators. Punt off, it's a good one. It's off Arnett's hands. He's got to get on that football. So he fields and he's out of bounds at about the 16-yard line. Bert, what outstanding punt that was.
I mean, he absolutely hammered that ball. And, you know, that was one that you thought would have backed up a little bit more, because in his kind of pre-punt, he punted it over his head. Did not do that, did not get back to the ball. And we talk about special teams. One of the things that, you know, with this North Shore team 2 years ago that won the state championship, they did not have the kind of offense that they have now. They sure didn't score the amount of points that they're scoring this year. So special teams was a big part of that. Back then, they did not have the same type kicker and for sure the same type punter. Excellent job right there of taking what should have been great field position for Dickinson, and instead the Gators are going to start at their own 16-yard line.
So Mike Welch in the gun. Jet sweep. Gordon Green on the carry, headed to the right sideline, but he's going nowhere. He gets bumped out of bounds at the 15. It's a loss of 1. It's number 24 for North Shore, Keon Stewart.
And Stewart just showing his speed. I mean, just absolutely making sure he does not allow Green to turn back into the field and tracking him down and making a good solid stick out there on the outside.
2nd and 9 for Dickinson. Welch back in the gun. Trips to the right, in tight. Welch goes left side. It's overthrown for Darrell Harris.
Yeah, there was some miscommunication there. Harris in a jam and then go kind of a skinny post, and Harris was running more of a Harris was running a post pattern instead of looked like he had planned on him just kind of doing a go route there. So miscommunication on Welch and Harris's part. 3rd and long coming up for the Gators.
So 3rd and 9, trips to the left. Heidemeyer out far left. Mike, single setback, throws it in the slot, but it's incomplete. The receiver never looked for the ball. It's Kai German. He was on a go pattern. Another miscommunication there. So the Gators going to have to punt it away.
It's just one of those situations when this Mustang defense can smell blood. They are absolutely fired up. And, of course, the Dickinson Gators are in a situation right now where their back's kind of against the wall. And, you know, you start getting frustrated. Next thing you know, 3 and outs do not help your club at all. So
Harris punting away for the Gators. See if he gets a roll. He does a roll, about a 5-6 yard roll. So North Shore will take possession at their own 42-yard line, 1st and 10. North Shore leads at 49-21.
Well, we look at flip field position. Dickinson Gators punting from their own 20. Gigantic punt all the way down to the 16-yard line. 60-yard plus punt.
Right.
And then, of course, got off a good punt there after the roll, but all of a sudden North Shore takes over their own 43-yard line.
So 1st and 10, North Shore. Let's see if that's Evans. It is Zach Evans on the carry. Left side for about 5 yards. Zach Evans looking for that 200-yard rushing marker here this afternoon.
Yeah, I believe he's right at the number right now.
So 2nd and 3 for North Shore. Davis waiting for the snap. He's got it. Hands it off to Evans. Just a straight handoff up the middle. Evans for about a yard. Kobe Mouton, the linebacker, with the tackle for Dickinson. So 3rd and 1 for the Mustangs. Davis settling down his offense.
Wow, look at that. You got Gentry on one side, Davis in the middle, Evans on the right.
So Davis takes it himself for the 1st down. It's good ball fake there. It faked me out.
Well, what do you do there? You've got those 3 young men standing in the backfield. Just a little quick read option on the dive to Evans, keeps the ball himself. But the maturity of Davis, you see right there.
Yeah.
Picked up his team's 1st down. No need to take a big hit. Potentially put yourself in a bad situation. Picked up 1st down, keep the clock running. And they go back to that same formation here.
1st and 10, the Gator 45-yard line. Evans with another big carries. Breaks the tackles, got 3 guys trying to bring him down. He finally gets brought down at the 31-yard line. 14-yard pickup for Zach Evans.
And you said it, that puts him over the 200 mark, puts him around 204 yards in rushing.
Great afternoon by Zach Evans. And John Gentry's been a force as well. Here's Davis waiting for the snap, 1st and 10. Dickinson 30-yard line. Gentry in motion. Straight drop back. Looking right sideline. He's got to see wide open. And the catch is made for the touchdown. Demetrius Davis. 29-yard touchdown catch from Demetrius Davis.
Chance Pillar out there.
To Chance Pillar in the right corner of the end zone.
And he had 2 receivers. He had his go route open, but he saw it too late. Pillar doing a delayed kind of route up there. Good pitch and catch, getting the ball out there to him. And we talk about all of a sudden North Shore being in a position where at some point in time here, you probably aren't going to see the starters because you got to start thinking about not getting anybody hurt because you got to go beat the, if Katy hangs on to their game, the Katy Tigers next week to continue your road to state. So a lot of football still be played here, but North Shore Mustangs kind of put a in my opinion, a nail in the coffin. And I've been wrong once in my life, so I guess there's a way that, but they're going to have to make some mistakes. And right now, I do not see the Dickinson defense getting 5-6 more stops and giving that offense that many possessions with 4:04 to go here in the third quarter.
So Villalobos extra point brings it to 56-21 North Shore. And absolutely, Bert, I think you will see North Shore give their backup guys some experience here. And that pays off in the playoffs, because you never know if somebody's going to go down in the first quarter next week. And if that guy's got experience in a big playoff game, it really pays off. So Zach Evans and John Gentry have done outstanding work along with Demetrius Davis, the quarterback. So we'll see if they come out their next possession as North Shore kicks it off to the Gators. Just rolls out of the end zone. Darrell Harris couldn't field it. So the Gators will set up shop, 1st and 10 at their own 25. But Dickinson's defense came into this ballgame only giving up an average of 12 points a game. That speaks volumes of the North Shore offense that we've seen here today.
Well, the one thing about John Kay is, and again, he's a phenomenal coach. He does a great job, just like the more than likely competitor he'll be taking on, Gary Joseph, with the Katy Tigers. These guys believe in discipline. They believe in every player playing every down. And, I've had many conversations with Coach K off of the field. And, and he believes there's not one player who makes the difference, that it's a team effort. And as you see right there, I mean, they're just absolutely still playing as if they're down in this ball game. And nice job by Tony Bradford there, getting in the backfield and blowing that play up for a loss of 1. And that's the difference. It all starts at the top. I mean, you've got to understand what your responsibility is and what you need to do on an individual basis so that you can execute at the end of the day a big ball game.
So 2nd and 11 for Dickinson on their own 25-yard line. Welch in the gun, trips to the left, looks left side. It's complete to Kai German, but no gain there. He does, second ever does get him about 2 yards.
Well, we talk about it all the time. When you're a senior, there's a lot of these guys. This will be the last day on the field. There's even some country songs about it. I mean, a lot of these young men after today, they'll go on with their lives and whatever the next steps are. Another quick bubble screen out there and blown up defensively. Going to bring up a 4th down here. Looks like Coach Nelson's going to send the punt unit out.
So that'll be Darrell Harris punting for the Gators. 4th and 3 from the 32-yard lines. So North Shore should get good field position.
Morris Cockrell back here to return this kick. Different return guy.
So Harris's punt, it's a high one. See if it gets a roll.
Wow.
And it actually goes out of bounds at the 44-yard line.
His shoe came off.
Oh my, so 11-yard punt for Harris. So North Shore, let's see who they bring out in the skill position. At quarterback, looks like it's going to be number 16. Or excuse me, check that. He's the running backs, John Gentry. So Gentry's back in there.
Demetrius Davis is back there too.
Okay. So Davis set to take the snap, hands it to Gentry. Gentry right side, trying to get the edge, not there.
Number 16, John Gentry, the ball carrier. Taken out of bounds by number 13.
So Davis stays in the ball game. 2 minutes left in the third quarter. He's still in there. North Shore up 56-21. I believe this would be their 8th region semifinal, if I'm not correct, Bert.
No, that's correct.
So Davis in the gun, 2nd and 13. Screen out to Charles King. King gets lit up by DJ Warnell.
Yeah, but King kind of brought that on himself. These young men see all these world-class, number 21 from the Dallas Cowboys last week do it. So I guess he thought, hey, if he can do it, I can do it. But, man, we leave the ground like that and go high, you put yourself in a position, Ezekiel Elliott. Of course, he didn't quite have Ezekiel's leaping skills there.
3rd and 8. Davis down the left side, got a receiver open just a little bit too long for A.J. Carter. Flag down the play right at the 50-yard line. See the flag.
Yeah, it looks like there's going to be a personal foul there. Quarterback got absolutely lit up, did Davis, and I think one of his linemen kind of took it personal, and that's just a scenario you can't do. We'll go down the field to see what the...
It is a personal foul against Dickinson.
No, it actually was against North Shore.
Okay, North Shore, check that.
Yep.
Referee's mic was a little muddled there. So it goes against North Shore. They'll back them up all the way to their own 43-yard line. It's going to be 4th and a long ways. So they'll be in punting formation. Savion Arnett back to receive for Dickinson.
Well, you like seeing your big men take up for your quarterback, but that's one of those plays, and you got to make sure that you don't make that mistake, because naturally it penalizes your team.
It's a good punt to the right side of the field. Gets a good roll all the way down to the 14-yard line. So Joseph Boyer.
Villalobos has just had a wonderful game punting the ball.
It really has.
Beautiful.
Villalobos came in this game with 61 extra points and 3 field goals. You're right, Bert. He's been busy all season long.
Well, when you get that kind of opportunity, you just keep getting better and better every week. So
1st and 10 for Dickinson. Their own 14-yard line. Welch. It's complete. Little slant pattern to Darrell Harris. About a 7-yard pickup.
Well, and I said it all night. I thought I'd see a lot more of that. That's the Dickinson offense, and consistent with it. Hit those quick routes. Pick up first down. Pick up, touchdowns. And it's just coming in here tonight. This is unbelievable. This afternoon, I apologize. This has just been one of those ball games where the defense, outside of the Hail Mary, has really given up 14 points.
So Mike Welch.
That was
almost picked off. Intended for Cameron Gallagher, but Keon Stewart was right there.
I think Stewart was still seeing pay dirt at the other end of the deal, and maybe that's why he's a defensive player, not an offensive player, because he broke up the play, which is what his responsibility is. But he dropped the ball on his way to run into.
Got big eyes.
Yeah.
So 3rd and 3 for the Gators. Their own 22-yard line. This might be the last play of the 3rd quarter. Welch pump fakes it. Almost picked off by Stewart again.
Well, he's definitely a defensive player. We're gonna go ahead and stick. We're gonna go ahead and stick with that being our final answer. Those are 2 balls. That one hit him right in the grill, and the other one he was breaking on it. That one he had too much time to think about it. That was a ball that was just thrown about a yard behind the receiver, and he was just standing right there. And
my goodness,
hit him in the basket. He'll come over and go, "Hey, I got 2 breakups, coach." But those are ones that he's still thinking where he'd be running if he caught either one of those 2 balls.
So Darrell Harris in the punt for the Gators. Gets it away. Down the middle of the field, gets a roll down to about the 42-yard line. So 1st and 10 for North Shore, their own 42-yard line. So we head to
now
the last play of the third quarter. Been all North Shore today, 56-21.
Beautiful sunny day here.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Galena Park ISD.
So last play of the third quarter, 1st and 10 from their own 42-yard line. North Shore hands it to Evans. Evans, a big gain up the middle down to the 32-yard line. 26 more yards for Zach Evans.
That's gonna put him at 238 yards for the day. And that's going to end the first quarter.
As we go to the fourth quarter, you're watching the NFHS Network Road to State on Facebook Watch. You can watch this game not only on the NFHS Network, but also on the Facebook Watch tab as part of the Road to State, brought to you by the NFHS Network.
The NFHS Learning Center is the leader in online education for the interscholastic community. At NFHSLearn.com, you can find over 60 courses for coaches, administrators, officials, parents, students, and performing arts programs, including over 25 free courses such as concussion in sports, heat illness prevention, sudden cardiac arrest, and protecting students from abuse. For more information, visit the NFHS Learning Center.
Roger Hagan in at quarterback for North Shore, number 15. 2nd and 7 after Hagan's 3-yard pickup. Hands it off. Actually, he keeps it. Good ball fake by Hagan. Picks up about 4 yards. Roger Hagan, the junior, stepping in for Demetrius Davis. Bring up 3rd and 2 for the Mustangs from the Dickinson 25-yard line. Dorian Manuel to the left of Hagan. Trips to the left.
Big hit, but it looked like Manuel going to pick up the first down there. Nice job of running. This goes back and echoes what I was talking about earlier. You know, a lot of these starters, here we go, we start the fourth quarter, and the starters look like, and I'll get the exact number, but I had Evans down with around 240 yards, and we'll get the final numbers when it all wraps up. But man, what a ball game this North Shore offense has had against a really good defensive team. Like you said, I believe only giving up 14 points coming into this game were the Dickinson Gators. So North Shore looks powerful.
Absolutely. Hagan waiting for the snap. Takes it himself, left side. Gonna be stacked up for no gain. You're right, Bert. Zachary Evans, what an afternoon he's had on the national stage. He's considered in Texas one of the best running backs as a junior. And he certainly showed it today, as you said, up to 240 yards or maybe even more than that.
Yeah, I look down there on the, you know, you got to give Thomas and Taylor, Shivani, Castellian, George, the big men up front. What a job they've done here today. Clearing the lanes. We've talked about it. Evans, Davis, Gentry, the yards they've had, but big men up front, they get a big round of applause as they came off the field right there.
So Hagan takes it himself. It's going to be dropped for a loss. Flags are down on the field about the 18-yard line. That's where it all starts, Bert. Those offensive and defensive lines in the North Shore on both sides of the lines. We saw Revels with that pick six. That's where they really dominate the ball game and open those big holes for those skill players.
Yep. You give guys like that just a little bit of daylight. You know, Evans, he gets the edge. He can go. If you look at Davis, he gets the edge. You give Gentry any kind of light. That's going to be a loss, and to bring up third down, and we'll call it 14 here.
It will be indeed 3rd and 14 from the Dickinson 25-yard line. Hagan in at quarterback. Roger Hagan spelling Demetrius Davis. And Dorian Manuel will be the setback to his right. Trips to the right. Hagan just looking for the dump off right there. Threw it a little bit too short. Got some good pressure.
Now Dickinson, like I said, these guys are still going wide open. John Norwood out there still. You know, these guys, they know this is their last game of the year, so they're going to stay out there and play 4 quarters of football. Looks like on 4th down, I'm trying to figure out what they're going to do here. Looks like Coach K is going to take a timeout, and he will. You know, this is a tough situation. 25, 35, 37, 40. You really want to send your kicker in to try a field goal with long distance just because he needs that kind of experience. But yet when you're up 56-21, you're kind of in an awkward place here as a coach. You know what the right thing to do is, but you also don't want to feel like you're trying to run the score up. So be real curious to send, if he does send his kicker, Villalobos, out there to try this, or if he'll just go for it on 4th down and decide to go that route. These two coaches, I know both of them well, and they both have great amount of respect for each other. John Kay clearly came out, and he's going to send Villalobos out there. And I said it, and I kind of preempted it. You know, I think this is the right thing. You want to send your kicker out there, give him an opportunity to try a 42-yard field goal with pressure in a game, and right now the game's not on the line. You know, it's not as if it's the difference in winning a game or losing a game, but you want him to continue to get this in-game experience as we continue towards the state championship.
So Jonathan Villalobos in for the 42-yard field goal attempt. Snap's good. Villalobos' kick is up. And good.
Yeah, and he did a great job right there. That ball would have made probably close to a 50-yarder, but more importantly, confidence. You talk about special teams. There'll be games down the road where his leg will potentially be the difference in winning and losing a ball game, or putting in a two-possession game. And I mean, and those are kind of things. Coaches respect each other, but they still have to manage the football game in a way that's going to help them continue to the road to state, because right now you're in one and done. You don't get no retakes.
Right.
You don't get no opportunity to come back and go, well, I should have, or well, I shouldn't have. Right now you've got to prepare your team to the best of your ability every play, every down. And I'm very, very happy to see Coach K pull his starters out there, because there's no reason to put anybody in a position where they can potentially get injured. And like you said earlier, it gives those secondary players a great opportunity to get some on-field playing experience in a playoff game, because you're one play away from one of them having to step up and be the starter. So Coach K, class act, and great job by him of bringing his team in here prepared today for a big matchup.
So North Shore kicks it off. It's just a pooch kick to the right side. fielded by Jordan Green. So Dickinson will set up shot first and 10, their own 25-yard line. North Shore on top, 59-21.
Well, and I was curious to see if North Shore would come in here and kind of look past Dickinson and look to the Katy game next week. And I'm going to repeat myself, seems like way too many times, but the reality is when you are a top-notch coach, you make sure your team comes in here prepared to play the opponent they're playing today. Kay definitely did that after this victory. They'll give kudos to each other. They'll be right back to the drawing board getting ready for Katy next week.
Absolutely. Welch's pass is incomplete. And what a matchup that's going to be. North Shore and Katy, traditional state powers. Katy with 8 state titles under Gary Joseph. And they're certainly going to be looking to reverse that opening game of the season where they lost to North Shore 35-21.
Talk about it all the time. It gets harder and harder to beat the same team twice in a year. Everybody matures, but if there's any team that has the ability to do it, I definitely think this North Shore team could potentially be that team.
So Welch just throws it away. A lot of pressure from Aaron Brown.
Well, and then you look down there, and they're going down in their 2 deeps too. So,
well, you certainly won't see 2 better teams in high school football next week than Katy and North Shore. As you mentioned, Bert, both of these coaches are just class coaches, elite coaches, and both of these teams play great technique on both sides of the football with explosive athletes.
Yes, they do.
So Welch is sacked at the 21-yard line. All North Shore here in the 4th quarter. It's going to bring up 4th and 16. Gators are going to have to punt it away.
Well, we talked about it, you know, Dickinson got the Hail Mary to end the first half. Looked like they had put themselves back within 21 points. Got the ball and was moving the ball down the field. And then Welch on a 3rd and 10 made a mistake. Jordan Revels with the pick and runs it back for a touchdown. And since that play, I mean, it's real simple. North Shore Mustangs have dominated.
The punt. It's a good punt return down the left side. He had an opening to the sideline. He took it. That's Marcus Cockrell with the return. It's a good one. Down to about the 35-yard line of Dickinson. That Revels pick 6, Bert. That was, to me, that was an impressive display of athletic ability. That, to me, that was a turning point in the second half.
Well, it was a statement. You know, Dickinson was moving the ball. They looked like they could potentially go down and make it a 14-point game. You know, there's just a lot of different things you can go back and say what if. But the reality is, even if all the what ifs wouldn't have happened, this North Shore team tonight or this afternoon has dominated, and it's just unbelievable what they have looking forward going forward here. Rest of this playoffs on the road to state.
So Hagan with the straight handoff, about a 1-yard gain. North Shore just running clock. So 2nd and 9 from the Dickinson 36-yard line.
Well, and you know, this again goes back to class act. North Shore's taking the clock all the way down here under 10 for the break huddle.
So Hagan in the gun, 2nd and 9. Just a straight handoff. You know, Bert, we talked about Zach Evans and John Gentry today, but speaking of Katy, there's a pretty good running back over there. DeAndre Glass for Katy. He's one of the top running backs in the state of Texas as well. So Zach Evans, DeAndre Glass, what a matchup that's going to be. North Shore has a 3rd and 6. About 6 minutes left in the ball game. North Shore rolling big, 59-21 over Dickinson.
TexasLive.com. So proud to produce this game, of course, for NFHS and Facebook Watch.
Higgins takes it himself. Broke a tackle, cuts back inside. Hagens with a first down run. About a 10-yard pickup for Roger Hagen. Nice job right there by Roger Hagen, breaking the tackle and making a nice cut inside to the middle of the field for the first down. 1st and 10, North Shore. Dickinson, 24-yard line.
Right now, North Shore is just trying to run this clock out, get out of this game, and start preparing for next week against the Katy Tigers.
So Hagen in the gun. 1st and 10. Straight handoff. He dropped for about a 3-yard loss. It's Manuel with the carry.
Yeah, Norwood come up with the ball, but hey, look, Coach, look what I got. But it was a little late. They caught him down by contact.
So 2nd and 11 from the Dickinson 25-yard line. .430 left in the ball game. It's Hagen closing it out for the Mustangs. Hagen with the snap. Screen pass complete. You'll pick up about 3 yards.
Jarvis Anderson there with the reception. Everybody get a little playing time, Mike.
That's right. That's good to see, too.
Looking here on Facebook Live, some of the chatter, some of the Florida fans saying they can come here and play against us.
Well, I say bring it on. So North Shore, 3rd and 8, Hagen. Takes it himself. Hagen's got room, cuts back inside. Hagen is still driving all the way down to the 6-yard line. Roger Hagen.
Well, the reality is Hagen will never see the field as a starting quarterback probably when you've got Davis in front of you unless he's needed. But Hagen, I've seen him play in multiple games this year, and he's had a really solid season. It's just one of those situations when the man in front of you has had the kind of playing skill that Davis has. You just don't get much playing time unless it's in, like I talked about, 3rd and 4th quarter in these scenarios. So young man's got a lot of talent.
Really does, taking advantage of his opportunity. 1st and goal from the 6-yard line. Hagen, straight handoff.
Touchdown, North Shore Mustangs. Wasn't sure he got in. It was a late call, but it is going to be a touchdown. And, you know, these young men out there on the field, they got to feel good about themselves. They come in here, backups, get an opportunity to play, and just like that, they're going to get to see them score a touchdown. So
North Shore setting up for the extra point. Here's the snap. It's a good snap. Kick is up. And no good.
Well, we got a new kicker in there, too.
So North Shore leads at 65-21.
Trenton Hunter in there.
There you go.
You know.
Got to get that ball up a little bit, Trenton. You know, Bert, I remember when they used to have the All-Star game between Texas and Oklahoma, and Texas just used to pound Oklahoma. I think they finally got rid of that game, or it might have been against Pennsylvania. I can't remember.
In Louisiana.
In Louisiana, too.
Bayou Bowl.
So Florida calling out Texas, especially a great team like North Shore. I'm not so sure. They might want to quieten that down a little bit.
Well, you know what? The good part about high school sports, the good part about being associated with National Federation of High School Sports, Facebook Watch, you never know what tomorrow brings.
That's right.
Sometimes you wish for what you eventually get. So I'll definitely spark the conversation. Like I said, my name is Bert Brocker. I'm actually the owner of the company that's producing the game today for National Federation and Facebook Watch. So I'll be more than happy to spark the conversations and see what we can get for some of the fans that's out there watching it and enjoying the game today, about potentially looking at some rivalry games.
So North Shore kicks it off. The Gators just following about their own 28-yard line. 65-21. About 2:30 left in the ball game. The Gators are going to finish their season at 10-2 overall. I want to tip our hat to Coach John Snelson and his staff. The Gator Nation have had an excellent ride this year. They beat an undefeated 10-0 team last week in the area around Pearland, 49-21 to get to this matchup this afternoon. So we're going to tip our hat to Dickinson, Gator Nation. It's been an outstanding season, nothing to hang your head about against a great team like North Shore, and a fantastic season for the Gators, finishing 10-2 on the season. As it's 1st and 10 for Dickinson, Mike Welch with the handoff to Day Farmer. Check that, Donovan Bradley on the carry, and Marlon Allen has come in at quarterback. He's number 10 for Mike Welch. And of course, North Shore will move on to the regionals against Katy next week, and we're not sure where that game is going to be played, but more than likely be at NRG will be the likely scenario. So Allen, the handoff to Bradley, loss of about 2.
Alonzo Brown there.
Number 59, Alonzo Brown. Loss of 4 yards on the play will bring up 3rd down and 12.
This is 3rd and 12. They're on 26. Allen the pitch to Bradley. Dominique Bradley, the freshman, picks up about 5 yards, well short of the first down.
Well, we saw Bradley do some things in the second quarter that we were impressed with. Unfortunately, in a situation when they were already down 21-0, he put the ball on the ground. North Shore covered on the 30-yard line, short field, went up 28-0, and it seemed like Gators 28-7, felt like they were starting, some momentum going, but at the end of the day, Dickinson's defense just did not have the firepower and ability to stop the North Shore Mustangs. And you can sugarcoat that however you want to sugarcoat it, but you got to give kudos to a well-staffed, well-coached staff here of the North Shore Mustangs with John Kay and his crew.
No question about it. So 40 seconds left in the ball game. North Shore rolling 65-21. They'll advance to the region semifinals. Their 8th consecutive against Katy. It'll be Friday or Saturday night. It's to be announced. Probably at NRG Stadium where the Texans play.
Yep, defensive staff here, Garrett Cross, linebackers coordinator, Nick Flores, safeties, Justin Isidore, linebacker, Steve Lewis, Michael Quinn, Joshua Pratt, Thaddeus Reagan, and defensive back Patrick Robinson put together an unbelievable game plan here in this ball game. This will probably be the final snap of your ball game. Offensively, Willie Gaston, Ruben Amaya, Layman Atkins, Sheldon Burnett, Caleb Butler, Corey Laxton, Joe Pierce, and Daniel Raxton. What an offensive game, of course, with the head coach, John Kay. Next week, John Kay, North Shore Mustangs against the Katy Tigers and Gary Joseph. Should be a great one.
Yeah, watch the next round of the state playoffs right here on the NFHS network and the Facebook Watch tab as a part of the Road to State, brought to you by the NFHS network.